Chapter 1792, Gathering. The Constellation Society. 3. Why are you looking at me like this? Yu Chiqiao asked curiously. What happened between the two of you when we weren't around? Sichu Weiner asked. What happened? Yu Chiqiao was puzzled. Why are you acting like a housekeeper then? Ji Haochen looked at Yu Chiqiao and Wang Ting with a sly grin. Look, everyone can tell. Sichu Weiner smiled. Don't talk nonsense. What housekeeper? I'm not like that. No way. Yu Chiqiao quickly understood what they meant. She blushed and hurriedly denied it. She explained, I'm only working so hard for the points. That's right, it's just for the points. Sichu Weiner nodded. That's right. We understand that you're doing it for the points. Ji Haochen nodded. Yu Chiqiao. She felt that she might not be able to explain herself clearly. Say something. She turned and caught Wang Ting wearing a smug grin as if he was enjoying the spectacle. This immediately ignited her frustration. I've been running around like a horse and helping you come up with ideas, and you're just sitting there watching the show. Outrageous. What's there to explain? I think a housekeeper is good. I need one, Wang Teng replied without a hint of embarrassment. Get lost. I don't want to be your housekeeper. Yu Qiqiao's face turned redder. Ha ha ha, everyone burst into laughter. Brother Wang Ting, you're amazing. You've already stolen Qiqiao's heart. Sichu Weiner gave Wang Ting a meaningful smile. Wang Ting, how about giving us some pointers? I've seen many beautiful ladies in the stellar academies. I need to make my move quickly, Ji Haochen said. It's very simple, Wang Teng replied calmly. Everyone's attention was immediately drawn, especially the guys. Their ears perked up as they anticipated his reply. Although they maintained a calm expression. All you need is a handsome face like mine, and the beauties will naturally come knocking on your door. I don't have to do anything. Wang Teng remarked. Silence. Everyone was left speechless for a moment, then they burst into laughter and started playfully scolding Wang Ting. Shameless. Shameless. Wang Ting, you're so thick-skinned. Heh. You noticed how thick my skin is? Wang Teng was surprised. They laughed and teased each other for a while before returning to the main topic. You all can also think about what you have that you can offer in exchange for points. It isn't just about my pills and weapons. Everyone has their specialties, and you can all leverage them. For example, Gaunt, you're an expert in poisons. I'm sure there are plenty of people interested in that. The person who contributes the item will get the larger share. That's the principle of our mutual help association. Wang Ting said. Gaunt had been silent all this while, but upon hearing Wang Ting's words, his eyes lit up. Why didn't he think of this before? It was like a sudden awakening. Ji Haochen, Timothy, and the others started to ponder. It was as if a new path had been opened up before them. Let me back and think about it carefully, Yu Yuanrui said. Can I sell my carrots? Tu Xiaoba asked. Everyone's expression turned strange. How could this young lady think of selling carrots? Just imagine a group of martial warriors munching on carrots while battling. What a unique scene that would be. What's with that expression? My carrots are filled with nutrients. Eating them can replenish your force. They are even more effective than some pills, and I can sell them at a cheaper price, Tu Xiaoba pouted. Replenish force. Everyone was stunned. The seemingly ordinary carrots in Tu Xiaoba's hand had such benefits. If it can replenish force and is better than normal pills, there will be a market for it. Wang Teng glanced at Tu Xiaoba in surprise and nodded. I knew it. Tu Xiaoba couldn't be happier. She chuckled as she nibbled the carrot in her hand. I took much effort to grow them. I have a question, Wang Teng said. Go ahead. Tu Xiaoba was confident that she could answer all his queries. Will I fart after eating this carrot? Wang Teng asked. Tu Xiaoba. Fart. She suddenly felt that the carrot in her hand wasn't delicious anymore. Fart. Everyone burst out laughing. Wang Teng had such a bad sense of humor. How could he ask Tu Xiaoba this question? A cute rabbit like her wouldn't fart. You are the one who's farting. Tu Xiaoba's chest heaved up and down in anger. She bared her teeth and wished she could rush over and bite Wang Teng. That's good. I'm just worried that it will affect the sales, Wang Teng said. Get lost. I don't want to talk to you. Tu Xiaoba turned her head to show that she didn't want to speak to Wang Teng. This fellow was infuriating. Wang Teng laughed. He found it quite amusing to tease the rabbit. Afterward, the others enthusiastically engaged in discussions, brainstorming various ideas to earn points. They were all putting in their best effort to achieve their goal. Everyone discussed for a few hours until the sky turned dark before they reluctantly called it a day. They prepared to leave. Crafting all the rules and plans would take time. They couldn't be perfected instantly. Wang Ting could ask Roundball for help. However, he felt that involving everyone directly would give them a greater sense of ownership, so he decided to let them discuss and plan on their own. Anyway, what's the name of our mutual help association? Ji Haochen suddenly asked before he left. Oh right, I don't think there's a name yet, Tu Xiaoba said. What good names do you have? Tell me, Wang Ting said nonchalantly. Why don't we call them the Rabbit Gang? Tu Xiaoba thought for a moment and chuckled. Why don't you call it Rabbit's Den? Wang Ting rolled his eyes at her. Others would laugh at them if they heard this name. Rabbit's Den is fine. I like it, Tu Xiaoba said. Keep quiet. Wang Ting was speechless. Everyone laughed. Tu Xiaoba was indeed a source of joy. She always managed to make them laugh. Why don't we call it the Great Chen Association? Yu Yuanrui's eyes gleamed. Not a good idea. In the future, people from other factions might join us. The Great Chen Association is too region-specific. Timothy glanced at Borit and said. You're right. Yu Yuanrui also noticed Borit's presence after Timothy's reminder. He understood and gave up the idea. Initially, he wanted to gain some advantages for the Great Chen Empire. After all, such factions formed within the academy generally held significant influence, especially when led by someone like Wang Ting. He believed that this force could go a long way and had limitless potential for the future. It would be great if it could be named after the Great Chen Empire. Unfortunately, the idea was rejected. Of course, the main reason was because it wasn't appropriate. If not, he would have insisted. That's called the Great Union? Wade said, the union of all great races. It doesn't sound good, Tu Xiaoba replied. All right. Wade scratched his head. Despite all the discussions, they couldn't settle on a name. It was quite amusing how a single name could stump so many people. Why don't we call it the Constellation Society? Wang Ting had no choice but to think about it personally. In the end, he chose a name that was easy to remember. The Constellation Society. Everyone's eyes lit up. This name is good. Let's call ourselves the Constellation Society. Little did this group of people know that the name they hastily decided on today would leave a remarkable legacy in the vast expanse of the universe in the future. Chapter 1793 8th Level Grandmaster. Yin-Yang Dragon Essence Pill. 1. The Constellation Society. The name Wang Teng came up with carried the meaning of countless stars, implying that every person who joined the Constellation Society would shine as brightly as the stars in the universe. Even if they didn't shine before they joined, they were bound to rise after becoming a member of the Constellation Society. It was a beautiful blessing. This was Wang Ting's hope for the Constellation Society. Although he had already decided to throw the responsibility to someone else, slogans and such still needed to be shouted. Other people would think that this Constellation Society was impressive and amazing when they heard its grand name. Winning or losing wasn't important. What matters was the process. After Yu Qiqiao, Borit, and the others left, Wang Ting had some peace. He thought for a moment and decided to make some pills. This was the initial establishment of the Constellation Society. What was needed now was to make a name for itself so that other students would be aware of the existence of this new emerging force. With Wang Ting's proficiency in alchemy, even if he casually made some low-grade pills, they would still possess around 80 to 90% of their medicinal potency. This was better than the pills sold in the academy. Therefore, as long as these pills circulated, they could certainly quickly gain a reputation. At that time, the students in the academy would flock to them. Roundball, is there a place in the academy where you can make pills? Wang Ting asked in his mind. During his time here, he had become quite familiar with the cultivation areas but has not yet acquainted with the alchemy and smithery spaces. It's in the northwest of the academy. You can board the spacecraft and it'll bring you there directly, Roundball said. Wang Ting nodded. He walked out of the manor and boarded the spacecraft. The spacecraft took off under Roundball's control and headed northwest of the academy. In the northwest direction, clusters of volcanoes appeared before Wang Ting's eyes. Each of these volcanoes emitted thick plumes of smoke, which gathered in the sky, casting a deep red hue over the area and exuding scorching heat. The spacecraft landed outside the volcano group. Wang Ting stepped out from the spacecraft, surveying his surroundings more clearly. A subtle fragrance of medicinal herbs drifted by, rejuvenating the spirits. This is a huge area. It looks like there are quite a few alchemists in the academy, Wang Ting said. More than just a few. I've looked into it. The 7 stellar academies periodically recruit geniuses with alchemical talent from across the universe. Not only that, they also seek out blacksmiths and rune masters. It's just that it doesn't generate as much attention as the League of Talents, Roundball explained. I see, Wang Ting nodded thoughtfully. He smiled and continued, does that mean that if I don't participate in the League of Talents, I could still be admitted to the academy through these paths? It's not the same. By being recruited as an alchemist, blacksmith, and so on, you won't receive the treatment that martial artists do. The focus will be different, Roundball said. All right. Wang Ting shrugged indifferently. It didn't matter to him either way. He kept his spacecraft and flew towards a volcano. The Academy's alchemy rooms and smithery studios were located within the volcanoes. The Academy utilized the lava power of the volcanoes in a special way for alchemical processes and forging. There were a total of 9 volcanoes designated for alchemists, numbered from 1 to 9. Volcanoes number 1 to number 3 could be used by alchemists below the Grandmaster level. Volcano number 4 to number 6 was for Grandmaster alchemists. As for the number 7 to number 9 volcano, only Grandmaster alchemists and above could use it. The flames contained within these 9 volcanoes possess varying degrees of power, with their sizes reflecting their strength. Even volcano number 1 covered tens of thousands of square kilometers and was tens of thousands of meters tall. Its peak was invisible to the eye. It looks like there are Grandmaster alchemists and above in the academy. Wang Ting's eyes shimmered with excitement as he looked at the last 3 volcanoes. Of course. The 7 stellar academies are extremely powerful. Where do you think the divine level pills in the academy came from? Roundball said in his mind. The divine level is above the Grandmaster level, Wang Ting exclaimed. There was a time when reaching the Grandmaster level seemed distant to him. On Earth, there were no Grandmasters. Even on the Xingwu continent, only Master Gorlin reached the half-step Grandmaster level. He had yet to take that final step. Thus, Wang Ting had no path to tread. But things were different now. After arriving in the universe, he rapidly reached the Grandmaster level and had already advanced to the 6th level of the Grandmaster level. He could even refine pills that were of the 6th Grandmaster level or higher. In the past, he wouldn't even dare to think about this. Now, he was qualified to chase after the divine level. It wouldn't be long before he crossed the threshold and became a genuine alchemy saint. Alchemy saint. In the vast expanse of the universe, alchemy saints were extremely rare and esteemed beings. They were seldom seen in ordinary circumstances. In terms of status, alchemy saints could stand shoulder to shoulder with eternal stage martial warriors. The eternal stage martial warriors treated alchemy saints as their VIPs. They didn't dare to offend them easily. To eternal stage martial warriors, only the divine level pills made by alchemy saints had effects on them. Even Grandmaster level pills had negligible effects on them. There seemed to be some fundamental distinction between a divine level pill and a Grandmaster level pill. Of course, Wang Ting was temporarily unaware of these details. He might only come to understand the differences after he reached the divine level and became an alchemy saint. Chapter 1794 8th Level Grandmaster, Yin Yang Dragon Essence Pill. 2, however, he still knew some basic information. For instance, to become an alchemy saint, he needed to first become a universe stage martial warrior. Becoming a universe stage martial warrior was just the minimum requirement for being a first rank to third rank alchemy saint. In other words, if he became a universe stage martial warrior, he could at most make first to third rank divine level pills. The classification of an alchemist's level wasn't always straightforward. It was determined by what grade of pills one could refine. For example, if you could make a third-rank pill, you would be considered a third-rank alchemist. However, Wang Ting was a little special. He was only at the 6th Grandmaster level, but he could make 7th Grandmaster level pills, like the 1000 grass elixir he made in the past. Because of this, Grandmaster Alfred and the others considered him a 7th level Grandmaster alchemist. Wang Ting smiled when he thought about this. It's a pity I can't enter those last 3 volcanoes. Otherwise, I'd like to see if I can find some special alchemy attribute bubbles. Wang Ting thought to himself. The number 7, 8, and 9 volcanoes were only accessible to divine-level alchemists. Those were sacred grounds. Even if Wang Ting was a Grandmaster alchemist now, he didn't have the right to enter. Wang Ting landed on volcano number 6. The instant he touched the ground, he felt a scorching sensation creeping up from the soles of his feet. If it weren't for his strong physique, the temperature of the ground alone would be enough to cripple his legs. Yet, in this environment, various strange flowers and plants still thrived all around him. Many of them were fiery red, resembling flames. Various structures were scattered around the volcanoes. These volcanoes had rune arrays inscribed upon them, suppressing any eruptions, so the buildings constructed atop them posed no safety risks. Halfway up the mountain, there was a grand hall that resembled an office. Given the massive scale of these volcanoes, there was plenty of space for multiple buildings. Wang Ting entered the grand hall and noticed several figures moving about. "May I help you? By the way, I'm Lin Qian. You can just call me by my name." A young woman in the academy uniform walked over with a smile and asked. "I'd like to rent an alchemy room to make pills." Wang Ting sized up the other party. She seemed to be a senior sister, which wasn't surprising. Many people in the academy performed tasks to earn points. Hence, he told her his intention clearly. "Rent an alchemy room?" Lin Qian glanced at the young man in front of her in surprise. Was he a Grandmaster alchemist? He didn't look like one at all. He was too young. Normally, only Grandmaster 7th level and above alchemists will rent the alchemist rooms on the 7th volcano. If you want to make 7th level and below pills, you can go to the other volcanoes and take a look. The points required there will be fewer, Lin Qian kindly advised. Her words were tactful as she felt that the young man before her might be a newcomer and not familiar with the place. After all, she had encountered similar situations many times before. She felt that Wang Ting might be a new student who had been admitted through the League of Talents. However, he possessed the alchemist talent, which was why he came here. "Thank you, I believe I'm in the right place," Wang Ting replied calmly. "All right, please follow me." Lin Qian was stunned for a moment. However, since Wang Ting had spoken, she didn't press further. She suppressed the astonishment in her heart and brought Wang Ting into the grand hall. As they walked, she asked, "Are you a new student this year? I feel like I've seen you somewhere." "Yes, I'm indeed a new student." Wang Ting didn't think that she was trying to strike up a conversation. After all, he was quite famous now. The academy was huge, but many people knew him. This senior sister probably recognized his face, but he didn't feel the need to explain anything in particular. Lin Qian just wanted to ask and wasn't planning to dig deep. She quickly led Wang Ting to a machine and said, "There are vacant alchemy rooms listed here. Just click on one, pay the points, and you'll have the right to use it. By the way, it's 100 points per day." 100 points a day. Wang Ting cursed in his heart. This alchemy room wasn't cheap. But then, he thought about it. A Grandmaster 7th level pill would cost tens of thousands of points. In that light, this price seemed reasonable. I must include these 100 points in the cost. Wang Ting thought to himself furiously. Then, under Lin Qian's guidance, he rented an alchemy room. "So you're Wang Ting. No wonder I find you a little familiar. Lin Qian saw Wang Ting's name in the holographic display on the machine and couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. Senior sister, please don't speak too loudly. It will be bad if others hear you, Wang Teng whispered. Huh? Lin Qian was confused. Why was he so secretive, as if he were doing something suspicious? I don't want too many people crowding around, Wang Teng explained. Ah, I see, Lin Qian realized, nodding repeatedly. She looked a bit coy. She knew this junior had gained quite a reputation now. It would be troublesome if other people noticed him. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone, she immediately reassured him. Thank you. Wang Teng nodded and left. He was in a hurry to make pills, so he didn't want to waste time here. Chapter 1795 8th Level Grandmaster. Yin-Yang Dragon Essence Pill. 3. The senior was attractive, but Wang Teng wasn't the type to be rendered immobile by a beautiful face. Alright, can you find a place? Do you need me to bring you there? After learning Wang Ting's identity, Lin Qian seemed a bit more enthusiastic, especially since she found out he was a Grandmaster Alchemist. She wanted to get to know him even more. A Grandmaster Alchemist was a walking points ATM. Do you need to purchase any materials or herbs? We have them here. No, I have quite a few materials on me. I'll buy more when I run out, Wang Teng declined with a smile. At this point, he had to admire his foresight. Having the floral fairies grow various spiritual herbs in the space fragment turned out to be quite useful. If he were to buy these materials from the academy, it would surely cost a lot of points, which would be a waste. Of course, not everyone could possess a space fragment like him at the cosmos stage. He even developed his spiritual field and had a bunch of floral fairies helping him to take care of it. Both the construction of a spatial realm and the cultivation of spiritual fields were significant undertakings. Most people wouldn't be able to accomplish such feats, nor would they have the time to engage in such endeavors. Therefore, the majority had to abide by the academy's regulations. Lin Qian watched Wang Teng leave with a hint of regret. She wanted to say a few more words, but he seemed completely uninterested. Oh no, I forgot to exchange contact information. She clapped her hands, frustrated by herself. Still looking? Has already gone. At this moment, someone suddenly patted her shoulder. Lin Qian almost jumped in fright. The other party walked silently so she didn't notice her. What are you doing? You scared me to death. The newcomer was a tall and elegant woman, a friend Lin Qian was familiar with. They usually worked here together to earn points. However, their primary objective wasn't earning points. It was to get to know some alchemists. If Wang Ting had paid close attention just now, he would have noticed that the staff in this grand hall were mostly attractive women. Who was that just now? He looked quite handsome. I think he stole your soul, the tall and beautiful senior asked curiously. Let me tell you, that was. Lin Qian pulled the other party to the side and the two began to whisper in hushed voices. She had forgotten the assurances she made to Wang Ting earlier. Perhaps she felt that it was just something to share with a friend, so it didn't matter. Really? It's him. The tall and beautiful senior sister was astounded. You better catch him. It looks like he's a Grandmaster Alchemist. Amazing. We're probably the first to know about this. You're right. However, it's still a question if he can make a Grandmaster level pill. I have my doubts, Lin Qian said with shimmering eyes. I don't think so. He's here to make pills, not to deceive people. If he doesn't have the ability, why would he waste points coming here? The tall and beautiful senior sister said. You make sense. Lin Qian nodded thoughtfully. That's why you need to make a move quickly, while others are still in the dark, the tall and beautiful senior advised. Wouldn't I be robbing the cradle? Lin Qian blushed. Although this was her plan, Wang Ting was much younger than her. She found it hard to proceed. If you can't bring yourself to do it, give him to me. I'm not shy, the tall and beautiful senior teased. Seriously? Are we still best friends? Lin Qian sighed in exasperation. What's wrong with that? I'm willing to sell myself for points. Why will I care about the age? The tall and beautiful senior sister said nonchalantly. You're right. I must seize this opportunity. Many of the people who came with us have already advanced to the universe stage. Yet, we're still hovering at the heaven stage. If we don't improve quickly, we'll be eliminated." Lin Qian's eyes gleamed with determination as she spoke. Martial warriors who could enter the stellar academies were all ambitious people. Although Lin Qian and the tall and beautiful senior chose this method to get more points, they did it precisely because of their ambition. "Sigh, I thought I had a chance." The tall and beautiful senior sister sighed. Her friend discovered Wang Teng first. Their relationship was strong enough that they wouldn't let something like this come between them, especially considering they were not petty individuals. All right. If there's a good one next time, I'll tell you first." Lin Qian chuckled. "Look at how pleased you are," the tall and beautiful senior sister retorted in a playful tone. "I'm afraid it won't be easy. I feel that he has no interest in me. He left without saying much and didn't even look at me," Lin Qian said dejectedly. "Really? He doesn't even look at a beauty like you? Is he the legendary oblivious and straightforward kind of man?" The tall and beautiful senior sister was surprised. "How can you say that about him?" Lin Qian was caught between laughter and tears. "Either way, you should give it a try. With your charm, it's worth a shot," the tall and beautiful senior advised. "If it doesn't work out, you can always move on." "You're right." Lin Qian nodded. Wang Teng didn't know that he had become a potential prey. He arrived outside an alchemy room on the volcano. The alchemy room looked somewhat like a villa half embedded in the mountainside. One side was exposed and the other was integrated into the rock, giving it a unique charm. Wang Teng wasn't in a hurry to enter the alchemy room. Instead, he scanned his surroundings with his spiritual power first. Chapter 1796 8th Level Grandmaster. Yin-Yang Dragon Essence Pill. 4. Attribute Bubbles. There were indeed many attribute bubbles here. Each alchemy room had a rune array forming a protective barrier outside, designed to prevent any interference from outsiders. But this wasn't a problem for Wang Teng. This wasn't his first time doing something like this. His spiritual power formed fine threads, slipping through the gaps in the rune arrays and entering the refining chamber. He quickly collected the attribute bubbles and then made a quick escape, just like a sneaky little mouse stealing a snack. Alchemy *100 Alchemy *120 Yin-Yang Dragon Essence Pill *1 Her? Yin-Yang Dragon Essence Pill, Wang Teng suddenly exclaimed in his mind. A pill prescription suddenly appeared in his mind. It was one he didn't know. Yin-Yang Dragon Essence Pill, a Grandmaster level pill. Wang Teng closed his eyes to take a closer look. He was astounded. This was a Supreme Grandmaster level pill. What was a Supreme rank pill? Normally, every level of pill was segregated into 9 ranks. Above the 9th rank was the Supreme rank. It was a pill between the Grandmaster level and the Divine level. The most important thing was, Grandmaster alchemists could make this pill. But Supreme rank pills were extremely rare. The prescriptions were extremely precious too. Most people had no knowledge of them, and even within the Secondary Career Alliance, the formulas for Supreme rank pills were scarce. If Wang Teng wanted to get a formula for a Supreme rank pill from the Secondary Career Alliance, it would likely require a significant price. He didn't think that he would be so lucky to find a Dan prescription for a Supreme rank pill in the alchemy zone of the Stellar Academy. Through the introduction of the prescription, Wang Teng understood the use of the Yin-Yang Dragon Essence Pill. Afterward, a peculiar expression appeared on his face. The Yin-Yang Dragon Essence Pill was a pill that could enhance the talent of a martial warrior's offspring. It was to be used during the union of a male and female. Then, the essence would enter the mother's body, taking effect during the conception of life. After consuming this pill, the child born would have extremely powerful talent, with a high likelihood of inheriting the talents of both parents. To martial warriors, the stronger they were, the more difficult it becomes to conceive children. The 2 main ingredients of the Yin-Yang Dragon Essence Pill were the star cores of the Yin-Yang Dragon. The combined forces of yin and yang could help to increase the chances of conception. Wang Teng was truly astonished by the effects of this pill. It was indeed strange. He wondered who was making this pill. If there was a chance, he must get to know that person properly. Wang Teng continued picking up attribute bubbles with this thought in mind. Wang Ting held a glimmer of hope after tasting success the first time. This was a pill of peculiar effect, but it was still a supreme rank pill. Who knows, he might stumble upon more pill prescriptions. Alchemy *80 Alchemy *150 Alchemy *110 Wang Teng's alchemy skills rapidly improved. All the alchemy attributes he collected were from 7th Grandmaster level alchemists and above. Therefore, they were all beneficial for Wang Teng. Unfortunately, the second pill prescription didn't appear. He was disappointed. Up to this point, Wang Teng hadn't come across many prescriptions. It seemed that obtaining prescriptions also depended on luck. After picking up the attribute bubbles, he glanced at the attributes board. Alchemist, 8500 10,000, Grandmaster, the same as an 8th level Grandmaster now. Wang Teng smiled. In a blink of an eye, he rose 2 ranks from the 6th rank to the 8th rank. The sensation was truly exhilarating. He didn't stay any longer and walked towards the door. Before he spoke, Round Ball opened the door. He stepped inside. The design of this alchemy chamber was user-friendly. Chapter 1797 The commotion caused by Wang Ting. 1. In the alchemy room. Wang Ting controlled the emerald-glazed flame, allowing it to envelop the black meteorite furnace. The green flame contrasted vividly with the black furnace. Numerous round and smooth pills floated within the furnace, radiating a verdant green hue. These were none other than the 1000 grass elixir Wang Teng had previously made on the Yumming planet. This type of pill was tremendously effective in removing hidden injuries within the body, making it suitable for almost every martial warrior. Since Wang Teng aimed to enhance his reputation, he needed to make some particularly unique elixirs. As for the ingredients he needed to concoct these pills, they were leftovers from the previous batch. Wang Teng didn't need to spend any points to buy them. He wouldn't make too many either, perhaps just a dozen or so pills from a single furnace. This should be enough. Scarce items held greater value. Having too many would diminish their worth. After he finished making the 1000 grass elixir, he would make the 9 essence soul congealing pill and the Shenyang soul restoring pill. These were all Grandmaster level pills he knew and were hard to find outside. He had taken a look. There were many pills in the Academy's treasure pavilion, but not these. Hence, he was certain that they had demand. There would be many people interested in purchasing them. He had to admit that the Secondary Career Alliance had a strong foundation. Their top-tier pill prescription reserve was on par with the Stellar Academies. As for ordinary pill prescriptions, they surpassed the Stellar Academies by a significant margin. After all, the Secondary Career Alliance was an organization that encompassed the entire universe. Almost all the secondary profession practitioners chose to join it. Hence, the prescriptions they possessed would differ. For instance, the Yin-Yang Dragon Essence pill that Wang Teng just received might not exist in the Secondary Career Alliance. This prescription was extremely rare. At this moment, Wang Ting had been in the alchemy room for half a day. The 1000 grass elixir was almost complete. It was at the final stage. Not only was Wang Ting's pill-making success rate high, but his speed was also very fast. While it took others several days and a few hundred points to make one Grandmaster level pill, Wang Ting only needed 50 points. This was quite cost-effective. Now that he had advanced to the 8th Grandmaster level, he managed to shorten the time required to make the 1000 grass elixir by over an hour compared to his previous attempt. Yes. Suddenly, his expression changed. He opened his eyes and looked at the furnace in front of him. It's coming out. The moment he finished speaking, he waved his hand and the roof above his head opened quickly. Layers of dark clouds had already appeared in the sky. Lightning flashed within them like silver serpents dancing. They covered the entire area. For those nearby, such a scene wasn't unfamiliar. Lightning calamities often appeared near the volcanoes. It was just a common occurrence. Boom. Suddenly, a column of emerald green light soared into the sky from the alchemy room where Wang Teng was situated. Intense fluctuations of force spread out. The fragrance of the pill permeated the air, filling the surrounding of the volcano. Many people were surprised when they caught wind of this scent. What a strong pill fragrance. What pill is this? Just taking a whiff makes me feel refreshed. My body feels purified. This pill is at least at the 7th or 8th Grandmaster level. It's extraordinary. Many Grandmaster alchemists who were resting walked to the rooftop of their room and looked at the pillar of light. Even the staff in the office hall came out to take a look. Does anyone know which Grandmaster rented this alchemy room? Someone asked. I don't know. He didn't rent it from me. That looks like room 085. I remember that it was empty this morning. Everyone shook their heads in confusion, except for one lady who looked astounded and in disbelief. Qian, what's wrong? A tall female student beside her asked. Sister Meng, that alchemy room seems to be the one I rented out this morning, Lin Qian said with uncertainty. At first, she was certain. However, when she saw the rising column of light, she found it hard to believe and began to doubt whether she had remembered correctly. Wang Ting had only been inside for half a day and he managed to make one Grandmaster level pill. Moreover, judging by the discussions of the alchemists around her, this pill was a 7th level and above Grandmaster level pill. Was he rolling dough balls instead of making pills? No matter how she thought about it, it felt somewhat impossible. Which one? The tall and beautiful lady called Yang Meng asked in surprise. She hadn't caught on yet. You know, the one I told you about. Lin Qian didn't say Wang Ting's name out loud. She glanced around and continued using voice transmission. It's Wang Ting. Wang Ting. Yang Meng's rosy lips parted slightly and a bewildered expression crossed her pretty face. She almost blurted out the name, but fortunately, she managed to cover her mouth in time and only spoke through voice transmission. That's right. Lin Qian nodded and replied using voice transmission. Are you sure? Yang Meng swallowed her saliva and asked in disbelief. I'm a little uncertain now. Lin Qian gave a bitter smile. Haha, you're right. Yang Meng laughed awkwardly. She could understand Lin Qian's concern. Anyone would suspect that they had heard wrong. Why don't we take a look? She suggested after some consideration. Help me to take a look then. Lin Qian glanced around her. Yang Meng made a thumbs-up gesture, signaling her to go quickly. While the crowd was distracted, Lin Qian quickly went back to the main hall and began searching for information. Chapter 1798. The commotion caused by Wang Ting. 2. She handled Wang Ting's rental personally so she could see Wang Ting's name and the alchemy room he chose. The other staff didn't have this authorization. Of course, if the higher authorities of the academy wanted to check, they had the authority to do so. When she saw Wang Ting's name, Lin Qian inexplicably let out a sigh of relief. It's really him. There was a strange glimmer in her eyes. She returned to the crowd and met up with Yang Meng. So? Yang Meng asked impatiently. Yes, it's him. Lin Qian took a deep breath and replied. Oh my God. Yang Meng was mentally prepared, but she still took a deep breath when she heard the confirmation. She then replied through voice transmission in astonishment. He managed to make a Grandmaster 7th level pill in half a day. What level is he at? 9th level? Lin Qian hesitated before replying to her. To be honest, I've seen quite a few 9th level Grandmaster alchemists. They weren't this fast. Yang Meng shook her head. I'm afraid this junior Wang Ting is truly a monstrous genius, not just in martial talent, but also in alchemy. While the two whispered to each other, the others continued speculating. Before long, bolts of lightning struck down from the sky. Everyone saw a purple light shooting up into the sky, forcefully blocking the terrifying calamity lightning. Then, the pillar of light vanished. Over a dozen round emerald pills appeared in front of everyone briefly before disappearing. It was a stunning sight. Many people were astounded. Over a dozen pills? Were those all from one batch? Everyone was dumbfounded. They thought that they saw wrong. This didn't make sense. Compared to successfully making a pill, concocting over a dozen pills in one batch was undoubtedly even more astonishing. Many people were eager to see who the Grandmaster alchemist in that alchemy room was, but after waiting for a while, no one emerged. They realized that this Grandmaster probably hadn't intended to finish his alchemy session so quickly. He might take a few more days. Generally, When alchemists entered these rooms, they would spend several days inside. Everyone was disappointed, but they had to leave and return to their respective duties. In the alchemy room, Wang Ting looked at the lightning slap in his hand in surprise and happiness. After the last lightning calamity, the lightning slap can withstand more and more lightning calamity. The 7 bolts of lightning were all endured by the lightning slap. Wang Ting didn't put in any effort. This was a pleasant surprise. When he was making the 1000 grass elixir on Yumming Planet, the lightning slap wasn't able to withstand all 7 bolts of lightning. Now, it could. The change was significant. This indicated that the potential of the lightning slap was indeed amazing. As it underwent more tempering by calamity lightning, its power would become stronger and stronger. Wang Ting was now looking forward to testing its effect on someone. He wondered if a universe-stage martial warrior could withstand it. Unfortunately, Zhu Longshan didn't manage to block his last blade attack. If he did, he could have tested the lightning slap on him. Sigh, what a useless person. Wang Ting casually flipped his hand and put away the lightning slap. He then looked at the jade bottle in his other hand, which contained the 18,000 grass elixirs. They lay quietly inside the bottle, emitting a faint green glow. It was a pleasant sight. It made one want to swallow them all in one go. There are 2 more than last time. It seems that my alchemist skills have improved a little after advancing to the 8th rank, Wang Ting muttered to himself. The previous time, Wang Ting made 16 pills at once. This time, there were 18. While it might seem like only a measly 2 more, at this level, each additional pill becomes significantly challenging. Hence, being able to produce 2 more pills indicated that Wang Ting's proficiency in alchemy had greatly improved. I'll make the 9 essence soul congealing pill now. A glint of determination flashed in Wang Ting's eyes. In the next moment, his figure disappeared and he entered his space fragment. He found Catalpa and asked her to prepare 2 sets of ingredients for the 9 essence soul congealing pill. After he made the 9 essence soul congealing pill the last time, he planted some spiritual herbs in his space fragment to make use of the thick force inside. Those spiritual herbs grew rapidly and should be ready for use. Catalpa didn't dare to slack off in carrying out Wang Ting's order. She immediately brought the floral fairies into the spiritual field to pick the herbs. Soon, they gathered all the spiritual herbs Wang Ting required. Each of them carried a small basket and came to report. Master, almost all the spiritual herbs are here, but, Catalpa hesitated. But what? Wang Ting asked. But, there's one spiritual herb that hasn't matured. Catalpa looked at Wang Ting worriedly. She was afraid that he would scold her. The other floral fairies looked at Wang Ting timidly too. They didn't dare to fool around since this was an important matter. Planting spiritual herbs was their responsibility. Wang Ting entrusted this task to them, so they felt a little nervous when they didn't complete it properly. Which one? Wang Ting asked. Soul congealing flower, Catalpa said nervously. All right, I understand. Wang Ting nodded calmly. Then, he waved his hand and kept the other herbs before vanishing. Catalpa was puzzled. This was it. Did nothing happen? Sister Catalpa, is Master angry? Flower Angel pulled her sleeve and asked softly. I don't think so. Catalpa replied after some thought. Chapter 1799 The commotion caused by Wang Ting. 3. Sigh. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. I knew it. Master isn't that kind of person. It's not that we didn't do a good job, it's just that the soul congealing flowers are more difficult to plant. They require more time to mature, so they haven't ripened yet. Master surely won't blame us, Flower Angel said. That's right, that's right. Master is good. That's right, Master doesn't eat people. The other floral fairies chimed in with cheerful agreement, and the atmosphere became lively once again. The floral fairy race was naturally carefree and happy. They lived freely without worrying about what was happening outside. It was unfortunate that they were sold as slaves, but they were lucky to meet Wang Ting. However, what was the relationship between being a good person and not eating people? Wang Ting was unaware of the conversation between the floral fairies. With a sigh of helplessness, He had no choice but to use points to purchase the soul-congealing flower. The soul-congealing flower was one of the main ingredients for the 9-essence soul-congealing pill. It couldn't be omitted. But he didn't blame the floral fairies. The soul-congealing flower was hard to plant. The fact that they had managed to cultivate it demonstrated their efforts. It wasn't their fault that it hadn't matured. Wang Ting wasn't going to blame them for such a small matter. 2 sets of soul-congealing flowers cost 1,000 points. It wasn't cheap. If Wang Ting wanted to buy all the ingredients for the 9-essence soul-congealing pill, he would need to spend at least 5,000 points. He waited for a while before Round Ball's voice was heard. Wang Ting, the items are here. It's just outside the door. All right. Wang Ting nodded. He walked to the main door and opened it. He was surprised to see a familiar figure standing outside. Senior sister, it's you. Why did you send it over personally? I'm a staff member here and you're under my care, so naturally, I brought them over, Lin Qian said with a beaming smile. Thank you, Wang Ting said. You're welcome. By right, I should call you Grandmaster. Lin Qian glanced at Wang Ting with her beautiful eyes. There's no need for that. We are both students in the Stellar Academy. There's no need to be so formal, Wang Ting smiled and replied. Haha, I'll call you junior brother then, Lin Qian said. They chatted for some time before Wang Ting sent this overly enthusiastic senior sister off. Her gaze feels a little strange, Wang Ting muttered to himself. However, he didn't think too much. The soul-congealing flower was here, so he immediately started making the 9-essence soul-congealing pill. Half a day later. Boom. An explosion occurred. Dark clouds covered the sky again, and lightning struck. People stared in astonishment at the alchemy room where Wang Ting was. A single thought echoed in their minds. Again, a column of light shot up into the sky from the alchemy room. This time, it was purple, clearly different from the previous pillar of light. This was another type of pill. It had only been half a day. The efficiency was a little high. Did the Grandmaster not need any rest? The moment he finished making one Grandmaster level pill, he started making another. There was hardly any pause between the two. There wasn't enough time to rest. Among the onlookers, if anyone was most astonished, it was Lin Qian. Half a day ago, she personally handed those particular spiritual flowers to Wang Ting. It was evident that he had started making the pill after she left. This efficiency was frightening. The calamity lightning struck down one by one, all deflected by a purple light. In the end, the frightening calamity lightning had no choice but to dissipate. What's that purple light? It can withstand the lightning calamity so easily. The Grandmaster didn't need to come out. I think I saw a brick. Brick. Are you seeing things? I think it's a rectangular seal. Some Grandmasters were discussing among themselves with envy and bewilderment. They also wanted a weapon that could withstand the lightning calamity easily. For them, the calamity lightning they attracted every time after making a pill was a considerable hassle. A slight mistake could result in the pill being destroyed by the power of the calamity lightning. Thus, when they saw something blocking the calamity lightning easily, they were envious. Perhaps they could approach that Grandmaster later and inquire if they could obtain the rectangular seal-like weapon as well. Even if they had to pay a small price, they could accept it. Many Grandmasters started to get excited. They stared at Wang Ting's alchemy room, intending to establish connections after he came out and then make requests when the opportunity presented itself. Make a request then. Furthermore, in their eyes, Wang Ting's alchemist skills had already reached the pinnacle of the Grandmaster level. They must get to know him. If they could engage in a conversation with him, they would surely benefit immensely. The purple light pillar gradually dissipated, and the pills within it vanished from sight, leaving people feeling somewhat lost. Many believed that Wang Ting would come out soon. After all, making 2 types of Grandmaster level pills in succession was challenging even for a top-tier Grandmaster alchemist. However, things didn't go as expected. In the following 2 days, an explosion would occur in Wang Ting's alchemy room almost every half a day, attracting the calamity lightning. Each time, the calamity lightning was effortlessly thwarted, and the pills remained intact. Each attempt was successful without a single failure. In total, this activity continued for 3 days, with a calamity lightning every half a day. That was 12 times. There was no exception at night either. This huge commotion naturally attracted many people's attention. Chapter 1800. The commotion caused by Wang Ting. 4. Among the crowd were regular students, instructors, and of course more alchemists. On the third day, the sky above volcano number 6 was filled with spectators. Some busybodies even spread the news through the Academy's internal web. Breaking news: mysterious alchemist emerges in the Academy's alchemy zone at volcano number 6, refining 12 Grandmaster level pills in 3 days, with 0 failure. This piece of news was sensational. 12 Grandmaster level pills in 3 days and not a single failure. Seriously? When did Grandmaster level pills become so easy to make? Initially, some had doubts about the authenticity of the news, but when someone uploaded videos of the bolts of lightning that appeared over the past 3 days at volcano number 6, all questions disappeared. News could be fabricated, but calamity lightning couldn't. Yu Qiqiao and the others also saw this piece of news. At first, they didn't react, but when they saw the mention of 3 days, they were stunned. Sister Yu, how many days has boss been gone? Wade asked curiously. I think 3 days. I haven't seen him in 3 days. Yu Qiqiao hesitated. Could it be? Wade looked at the news on the internal web and asked in disbelief, how's our boss alchemy mastery? He seems quite confident but he never explicitly told me, Yu Qiqiao said, sounding uncertain. I'll ask Ji Haochen and the others. They might have a clearer idea. She hurriedly contacted Ji Haochen and told him about it. Before she could ask, Ji Haochen gave her a strange look and said firmly, yes, it must be him. Are you sure? Yu Qiqiao was puzzled. If you don't believe me, you can ask Timothy. He knows better than me, Ji Haochen said. Hence, Yu Qiqiao contacted Timothy and received a surprisingly unanimous confirmation. Yes, it must be him. The same words came out of Timothy's mouth. Yu Qiqiao almost thought that they coordinated their responses in advance. How do you know? Yu Qiqiao asked speechlessly. Wang Teng is insane. He displayed his alchemist skills previously in the Great Qian Empire. Many people knew about it, Timothy replied. However, he made 12 Grandmaster level pills in 3 days. This is crazy, Ji Haochen lamented. He's not just crazy. He's a lunatic, Yu Qiqiao complained furiously. She couldn't hide her astonishment after getting the confirmation. Ha ha ha, you'll be surprised more in the future. Prepare yourself, Ji Haochen laughed heartily. Well, I better work on building my mental resilience. I don't want to keep getting surprised by him every time, Yu Qiqiao chuckled. But on the bright side, it seems like we don't need to do anything special. His reputation is bound to spread. Huh. You make sense. Ji Haochen and Timothy were stunned for a moment before they understood what she meant. That's a good thing. Wade smiled. When he comes out, everyone's jaw will drop. Yu Qiqiao smiled. On the Solar Dragon Race's side, Zhulong Shuang, Zhulong Hao, and the others saw this piece of news too. They asked someone to investigate the matter and confirmed the accuracy of the news. Then, they immediately headed to volcano number 6. Zhulong Shan was also involved in this. He was still a member of the Solar Dragon Race, so even though he failed once, he wouldn't be thrown aside. Meanwhile, members from other factions were also on the move. They all headed to volcano number 6. A Grandmaster alchemist was a rare and precious asset to these Academy factions. What's more, this alchemist was extremely efficient. He was like a money printing machine. If they could bring this person into their fold, it would be an enormous boon. Most importantly, based on this Grandmaster's style of doing things, this should be his first appearance. There was no news of him previously. That was why they all rushed to volcano number 6, hoping to be the first ones to recruit him into their ranks. Chapter 1801. Becoming highly popular. The challenges of being a 9th level Grandmaster. 1. Volcano number 6. Volcano number 6 had been exceptionally noisy these few days. Many people were gathered around the volcano. They floated in mid-air, craning their necks in anticipation. Their gazes were all focused on a certain alchemy room. Yu Qiqiao and the others were here too. The commotion was too great, and they couldn't afford not to come. Besides, they also wanted to confirm if the Grandmaster was Wang Ting as soon as possible to avoid getting their hopes up for nothing. Some people went to the main hall to inquire about the news, but Lin Qian and Yang Meng remained tight-lipped. They didn't disclose any information about Wang Ting. There were even people willing to use their points to purchase this information, but they controlled themselves. Actually, there was no difference whether they announced it or not. Wang Ting would come out sooner or later. However, they didn't want to be the ones spreading this matter. Once word got out, it would be obvious that they were the ones who leaked the information. Wang Ting might develop a negative impression of them because of it. Offending a Grandmaster with huge potential for no reason would be more harm than good. Wade, Yu Qiqiao, and the others were chatting using voice transmission. Sister Yu, when do you think boss will come out? Wade asked. I don't know. He didn't say anything. Yu Qiqiao shook her head. We have been waiting for a few hours. Is boss still making pills? Wade asked curiously. I don't think he's that crazy. He has been making pills for 3 days. Even robots need to rest. Yu Qiqiao was speechless. Most importantly, he's fast enough, Wade replied. You might die if he hears this. Yu Qiqiao understood what he meant. She glanced at him and chuckled. Cough, don't let boss know. Wade glanced around him nervously. His heart was trembling in fear. Let's see your performance, Yu Qiqiao said. Sister, I promise to be loyal to you from now on, Wade assured hurriedly with no shame. I wonder when that Grandmaster will come out. Zhulong Shuang and the other members of the Solar Dragon race were talking among themselves too. Let's wait and see. Since we want to pull him over, we have to show some sincerity, Zhulong Shuang said calmly. I wonder who it is. I don't recall hearing about someone like this before. Could it be someone from the new cohort? Zhulong Hao speculated. A Grandmaster among the freshmen? I think that's impossible, Zhulong Shan said. Who cares if it's possible? When he comes out, go and recruit him. Straighten up your attitude this time. Your brother entrusted me to keep an eye on you, so don't stir up trouble again, Zhulong Hao said. I understand. Zhulong Shan's expression turned gloomy when he remembered what happened in the past. However, when Zhulong Hao mentioned his brother, he didn't dare to say anything. He could only nod his head reluctantly. Haha, Zhulong Yi does dote on his younger brother. Zhulong Shuang smiled. Zhulong Shan felt a little frustrated. The tone implied that he was finding shelter under his brother's wings. Keep quiet, Zhulong Hao said angrily. Zhulong Shuang shrugged and kept quiet. In the alchemy room, Wang Ting sat cross-legged in front of the black meteorite furnace. He waved his hand and the lid of the furnace opened. The pills inside flew towards him. The pills fell into the jade bottle, emitting a crisp and melodious sound. It was pleasant to the ears. These pills were all below the Grandmaster level. Hence, they wouldn't trigger the calamity lightning. After he finished making the Grandmaster level pills, he started making the normal Master level pills. The time in the alchemy room is up. It's time to leave. Wang Ting stretched lazily. The emerald-glazed flame spiraled around him before disappearing into his body. He made a gesture with his hand and the black meteorite furnace also vanished. Without any hesitation, he headed toward the door. He left right on time, not wasting a single point. The door opened. It was already morning. Light streamed in and Wang Ting squinted slightly. Then, he walked out. But, the next moment, when he saw the situation outside, he was stunned. What was going on? Why were there so many people? At a glance, there were people all around him. Also, they seemed to be looking at him. Wang Ting suspected that he was seeing things. However, after looking around, he realized that they were indeed staring at him. They were not diverting their gazes. Moreover, their gazes held a trace of astonishment and disbelief. Did I cause too much of a commotion? Wang Ting wondered to himself. As Wang Ting was looking at the people around him, they were sizing him up too. There was an immediate silence. How could it be him? Zhulong Shan opened his mouth, his expression turning ugly at an incredibly fast pace. Zhulong Shuang and Zhulong Hao exchanged glances with one another. Never before had they felt this twist of fate. An unexpected figure appeared before their eyes, leaving them somewhat stunned. Yu Qiqiao and the others heaved a sigh of relief when they saw Wang Ting. They were elated and immediately flew down from the sky. Wang Ting! Yu Qiqiao shouted. Why are you all here? Wang Ting asked in surprise. Why are you asking us? Your news has been uploaded to the internal web. Take a look yourself. Yu Qiqiao caught between laughter and tears as she replied to him. At first, she wondered if this might be some scheme orchestrated by Wang Ting, only to realize that he was clueless about what was happening. This was a little funny. Round ball, what happened? Wang Ting asked in his mind. Ha ha ha, Round ball laughed. It opened its wristwatch and pulled out a message. Take a look at it yourself. Chapter 1802 Becoming highly popular. The challenges of being a 9th-level Grandmaster. 2. Wang Ting was speechless after reading it. It turned out that the commotion he had caused during these 3 days of making pills had been captured and shared on the internal web. No wonder so many people came. He was just making pills. Was there a need for them to come? You know this already, right? Wang Ting asked helplessly. That's right, but I wanted to see your reaction after finding out, so I didn't tell you in advance. Ha ha ha, that bewildered expression you had just now was amusing, Roundball laughed. You have a bad sense of humor. Wang Ting sighed in exasperation. Ha ha. Roundball chuckled. What do you plan to do now? Yu Qiqiao asked using voice transmission. What else can I do? Let's go back. Wang Ting glanced around and replied nonchalantly. Go back. Yu Qiqiao was taken aback. However, she quickly regained her composure and gave a subtle and knowing smile. Wade looked at them curiously but didn't say anything. He followed behind them and got ready to leave. As soon as he started to leave, the people around finally caught on and began converging towards Wang Ting. Please wait. This Grandmaster, please wait. Some people didn't know Wang Ting, but that didn't stop them from wanting to know him. Many of them initially hesitated because they recognized Wang Ting, while others were shocked by his youthful appearance and didn't approach him immediately. Now that they had regained their senses, they wouldn't let Wang Ting leave so easily. This was Wang Ting's plan. Those who were willing would take the bait. If he wanted to leave, someone would ask him to stay. Otherwise, if he just stood there waiting, it would make him appear too passive. As expected, he hadn't even taken a couple of steps before someone took the bait. Wang Ting stopped in his tracks and looked in the direction of the sound. Several figures swiftly approached. Wang Ting's expression changed slightly. He noticed a faint scent of medicinal herbs emanating from these individuals. It seemed they were alchemists. Moreover, they weren't just ordinary alchemists. They were Grandmaster Alchemist. Grandmaster, the figures quickly arrived and bowed in a gesture of respect with smiles on their faces. My name is Wang Ting. How do I address you? Wang Ting returned the gesture and gave a puzzled expression. We are also Grandmaster Alchemists from the Academy. We witnessed your alchemy skills over the past few days and admire you greatly. Thus, we hope to get to know you better, a middle-aged Grandmaster Alchemist said with a jovial smile. So, you are all Grandmasters. Wang Ting was a bit surprised by their straightforward approach, but it made him feel comfortable. Grandmaster Wang Ting, will you be willing to join us for a conversation at our residence? The Grandmaster Alchemist glanced around and extended an invitation. Sure. Wang Ting nodded. There were many people around, so he didn't want to chat in such a public setting. Besides, he was interested in learning more from these fellow Grandmaster Alchemists. You can go back first. I will inform you when I go back, Wang Ting said to Yu Qiqiao and the others. Okay. Yu Qiqiao nodded and left with Wade and Borit. Let's go. Wang Ting turned and spoke to the Grandmaster after he gave his instructions. Please. The Grandmaster Alchemist extended his hand in a gesture, guiding Wang Ting as they flew towards an alchemy room. The surrounding crowd appeared visibly disappointed when they left. Many saw Wang Teng's true identity and dispersed. However, some remained in place, waiting for Wang Ting to finish conversing with the Grandmaster alchemists. Lin Qian and Yang Meng shook their heads uncontrollably. With so many people around, they wouldn't have a chance to approach. "I'm afraid Wang Ting will become very popular," Yang Meng said via voice transmission. "That's right. People like him are destined to stand out," Lin Qian said with a sigh, feeling a bit sentimental. A few days ago, Wang Ting arrived here with little reputation. Now, he was already the Grandmaster's guest. The gap in status was significant. The members of the Solar Dragon race didn't leave either. They felt complex and didn't know what to say. Wang Ting is a Grandmaster alchemist. Eventually, Zhulong Shuang was the first to open his mouth and say something. He sounded both puzzled and in disbelief. So many people saw it. How can it be fake? Zhulong Hao rubbed his temple, feeling a bit of a headache. Wang Teng's influence was proving to be beyond his expectations. It looked like things were going to get complicated. At this thought, he couldn't help but glare at Zhulong Shan. "Look at what you've done." He initially thought that even if Wang Teng wouldn't join them, he wouldn't become their enemy. However, Zhulong Shan turned him into one. "How would I know?" Zhulong Shan's expression was grim. He grumbled in protest, "He's just a Grandmaster. We have our Grandmaster alchemists too." "Just a Grandmaster," Zhulong Shuang sneered. "He's at the peak of the Grandmaster level and he's so young. Did you see the expressions of those Grandmasters? They were practically fawning over him. Do you think this is the treatment an ordinary Grandmaster will receive?" Zhulong Shan fell silent. He knew that Zhulong Shuang was right. If he was just an ordinary Grandmaster, it might not mean much to their race. But, an extremely young peak-level Grandmaster, someone who could potentially reach the divine level in the future, held a completely different significance. He had to admit that his arrogance had attracted an extraordinary and formidable enemy to the Solar Dragon race. Chapter 1803 Becoming Highly Popular. The Challenges of Being a 9th-Level Grandmaster. 3. Let's not dwell on this anymore. Let's think of how we can remedy the situation now. "I disagree with making someone like him our enemy," Zhulong Hao said. "Fortunately, it's not yet beyond redemption. It hasn't escalated to the point where it can't be salvaged. Then let's continue with our original plan. However, the price we have to pay now will probably be much higher," Zhulong Shuang said helplessly. She had great confidence initially, but now, it wasn't necessarily the case. "Weren't you very confident?" Zhulong Hao sneered. "I'm still confident," Zhulong Shuang chuckled. "Then I'll wait and see." Zhulong Hao's eyes flickered as he left with Zhulong Shan. Many people from the other factions also stayed behind. It was evident they weren't willing to give up like this after a while. Wang Teng and the Grandmasters arrived at the main hall of an alchemy room. They then sat down and introduced themselves. "Grandmaster Wang Ting, my name is Dong Yutong. I've been in the academy for many years. I'm a 9th-level Grandmaster now," the middle-aged Grandmaster introduced himself. A 9th-level Grandmaster. Wang Ting was shocked. He didn't expect this Grandmaster to be at the 9th level. That was extraordinary. Grandmaster Dong's profound mastery of alchemy is truly admirable. "I will have much to learn from you in the future," Wang Teng praised. As the saying goes, respect other people and you will naturally get respected. Moreover, he was a 9th-level Grandmaster and had a chance of reaching the divine level in the future. Wang Teng naturally had to pay more attention to him. "Ha ha ha, to receive praise from Master Wang Teng is an honor for me." Dong Yutong smiled happily. Then, he pointed at a chubby man beside him and introduced himself. "This is Grandmaster Pu Yuanzhong. He's not bad either. He's an 8th-level Grandmaster." "Ah, old Dong, you flatter me. My skills are much worse than yours." Grandmaster Pu Yuanzhong smiled at Wang Ting and waved his hand. "Grandmaster Pu." Wang Ting smiled at him. Birds of a feather flocked together. Grandmaster Dong was at the 9th level while this person was at the 8th level. Their skills wouldn't be too far off. This is, just as Dong Yutong was about to introduce the 3rd Grandmaster, the other party smiled and said, "I'll do it myself." My name is Cecilia. I'm also an 8th level Grandmaster. This bright and beautiful female Grandmaster was an 8th level Grandmaster. It was surprising. Grandmaster Cecilia. Wang Ting nodded at her. 3 Grandmasters, 1 9th level and 2 8th level. Such a lineup was probably extremely rare and extraordinary amongst the academies. After the introduction, they started chatting. Grandmaster Dong Yutang and the others were very curious about Wang Ting's alchemy skills. They couldn't help but interview him. Grandmaster Wang Ting, which level are you at? I just reached the Grandmaster 8th level, Wang Ting replied honestly. Grandmaster 8th level. Dong Yutang and the other 2 exchanged glances. They were unable to hide the surprise in their eyes. This is unbelievable. We thought you were at the peak of the Grandmaster level. Cecilia exclaimed. That's right. You've refined Grandmaster level pills 12 times in 3 consecutive days. From what we saw, there are even elixirs above the Grandmaster 7th level. Even a peak level Grandmaster might not be able to do that. Pu Yuanzhong nodded in agreement. I have yet to reach the peak of the Grandmaster level, but I have some confidence in making a 9th level Grandmaster pill, Wang Ting said. The 3 of them widened their eyes when they heard Wang Ting's words. Refining a 9th level Grandmaster pill with the attainments of an 8th level Grandmaster. They didn't express doubt, but there was no shortage of astonishment in their hearts. Some alchemists could refine pills beyond their level, but they were few and far between. Only those with exceptionally profound knowledge of alchemy could achieve such feats. Grandmaster Wang Ting was probably such a person. He made Grandmaster level pills 12 times in 3 days without any failures. They had to believe that he could do it. The profound expertise of Grandmaster Wang Ting is truly admirable. We are humbled, truly humbled. Grandmaster Dong Yutang couldn't help but express his genuine admiration. He was sincerely amazed, even more surprised than when he first heard that Wang Ting was at the peak of the Grandmaster level. May I ask how old you are? Grandmaster Cecilia sized him up with her black eyes. She was very curious and couldn't help but ask. Let me think. Improbably in my early 20s, Wang Ting pondered for a while and replied. The universe did not keep track of the years. Although he hadn't been in the universe for long compared to other martial warriors, he couldn't recall his exact age very well. Silence. Fart. Grandmaster Pu Yuanzhong spat out his mouthful of tea when he heard Wang Ting's words. Both Grandmaster Dong Yutang and Grandmaster Cecil remained silent, exchanging glances with each other. Grandmaster Wang Ting, how old did you say you were? Cecilia asked again. I'm in my early 20s. I'm pretty sure I'm not more than 25 years old. Wang Ting touched his chin and replied. Pu Yuanzhong coughed a few times and said, Grandmaster Wang Ting, you startled me. Are you truly in your 20s? It's true. I won't lie to you about this, Wang Ting replied. Unbelievable. Cecilia took a deep breath to calm herself down. That's right. Grandmaster Wang Ting, you are very young. All of us are over 1,000 years old. Dong Yutang sized him up with a strange gaze. It was hard to fathom that the Grandmaster before them was actually younger than their descendants. Chapter 1804 Becoming highly popular. The challenges of being a 9th level Grandmaster. In fact, for them to achieve the 9th or 8th level of Grandmaster at their age was a testament to their exceptionally strong talents. Otherwise, for most individuals, reaching even the 3rd Grandmaster level would already be quite remarkable. However, compared to Wang Ting, your talents are terrifying. Pu Yuanzhong shook his head and sighed. You're born with great talents. Back in our day, it took us several hundred years to reach the Grandmaster level while you, in your 20s, have already surpassed us, not to mention matching our level. Did Grandmaster Wang Ting join the Secondary Career Alliance? Dong Yutang asked again. I did, Wang Ting replied. That's good, that's good. If a genius like Grandmaster Wang Ting doesn't join the Secondary Career Alliance, it will be a loss for the Alliance. Dong Yutang heaved a sigh of relief. Wang Ting felt helpless. Aren't these Grandmasters exaggerating a little? There were all kinds of geniuses in the universe. He was just an 8th level Grandmaster in his 20s. It wasn't worth mentioning. These 3 grandmasters were a little ignorant. He lamented in his heart. After a while, the 3 grandmasters finally accepted the truth and could communicate normally. By the way, old Dong, how's the refinement of the yin-yang dragon essence pill going? Pu Yuanzhong suddenly asked. Wang Ting was stunned when he heard the words yin-yang dragon essence pill. What a coincidence. The prescription for the yin-yang dragon essence pill was dropped by Grandmaster Dong. The alchemy room they were in wasn't the one where Wang Ting picked up the yin-yang dragon essence pill attribute bubble. That was why he didn't think about it. Hence, he was surprised when Pu Yuanzhong suddenly mentioned it. However, it wasn't that surprising. Grandmaster Dong was a 9th level Grandmaster. He must have a certain degree of confidence in refining a supreme rank pill like the yin-yang dragon essence pill. A 9th level Grandmaster alchemist was ready to advance to the divine level at any time. However, one must take things step by step. Before attempting to refine a divine level pill, it was better to start with a supreme rank pill first. Moreover, Wang Ting saw that Grandmaster Dong was only at the peak of the heaven stage. If he wanted to advance to the divine level, he had to reach the universe stage first. Most alchemists focus most of their energy on alchemy, so their martial arts cultivation tends to lag behind. For many alchemists, their martial arts cultivation was even bolstered by various precious pills and treasures, making them far less powerful than conventional martial warriors, let alone discussing combat strength. This was also the reason why divine-level alchemists were so rare. It wasn't easy to improve one's alchemy skills while also attaining the universe stage in martial arts cultivation. Not everyone was as monstrous as Wang Ting. Sigh. Dong Yutang couldn't help but let out a deep sigh. He said, "This yin-yang dragon essence pill is truly too difficult to refine. I'm afraid I'm going to let the 2 sirs down." Old Dong, you don't have to be like this. The yin-yang dragon essence pill is not easy to make. I'm afraid it's very difficult to refine it without reaching the peak of the Grandmaster level. Grandmaster Cecilia comforted him. Even though I understand that, it's still hard to accept that I've destroyed the star cause the 2 sirs worked so hard to obtain by slaying the male and female azure dragons. Dong Yutang sighed once more, shaking his head in resignation. Cecilia and Pu Yuanzhong could only look at each other. They didn't know how to comfort him. Alchemy inherently carries a risk of failure. The better the effects of a pill, the harder it was to refine it. Even if it failed, the person who entrusted it could not blame the alchemist. However, the 2 sirs mentioned were eternal stage martial warriors. It wasn't advisable to offend them. Besides, they wanted to nurture their descendants. Dong Yutang felt that he would let them down if he failed to refine the yin-yang dragon essence pill. Speaking of which, why did those 2 sirs insist on asking you to refine it? The yin-yang dragon essence pill is a supreme rank pill. Wouldn't it be safer to ask an alchemy saint to refine it? Pu Yuanzhong asked curiously. Wang Ting was curious too. From their conversation, it was easy to guess that the ones who asked Grandmaster Dong to refine the yin-yang dragon essence pill were at the eternal stage. It shouldn't be difficult for 2 eternal stage martial warriors to ask an alchemy saint to refine pills. I can tell you about this but don't tell anyone else. Dong Yutang was hesitant. Do you not trust us? Pu Yuanzhong promised. Do you need me to step aside? Wang Ting smiled. This was his first time interacting with these 3 grandmasters, and since they weren't familiar with each other, trust wasn't yet established. It's not that serious. Dong Yutang waved his hand and said, "Actually, it's just that those 2 sirs are a little tight on money." Grandmaster Pu Yuanzhong and Grandmaster Cecilia looked at each other with strange expressions. Wang Ting found it hilarious too. The 2 eternal stage martial warriors were short of money. Why did this reason sound so funny? Old Dong, you're not lying to me, right? Pu Yuanzhong had his doubts. Why would I lie to you? That's what those 2 eternal stage martial warriors said. Dong Yutang shook his head. Well, I suppose they might have some hidden difficulties, Pu Yuanzhong said. What will you do now? Do you still have the materials to refine another set? Cecilia asked. I don't have any more materials with me. It's not that easy to get the star core of a male and female azure dragon. Moreover, it's the star core of an ultimate stage imperial level star beast, Dong Yutang said helplessly. The star core of an ultimate stage imperial level star beast. Pu Yuanzhong and Cecilia were shocked. Ultimate stage imperial level star beasts were equivalent to universe stage martial warriors. Their star cores were extremely precious. Moreover, it was extremely rare to find both a male and a female azure dragon. It was many times more expensive than just buying one of them. In that case, it was understandable that the two eternal stage martial warriors were short of money. Wang Teng had guessed this as well. However, those two eternal stage martial warriors were willing to give such precious materials to Dong Yutang, a 9th level grandmaster, to refine. How much were they willing to risk? At this moment, Dong Yutang looked at the wristwatch in his hand, and his expression suddenly changed. What's wrong? Pu Yuanzhong noticed his expression and hurriedly asked. Those two sirs are coming, Dong Yutang said helplessly. Wang Ting looked at him sympathetically. Speak of the devil. Grandmaster Dong was unlucky. What are you going to do? Cecilia's expression also changed slightly as she hurriedly asked. What else can I do? I can only speak the truth. Dong Yutang shook his head and said, It's a pity that my alchemy skills are still lacking. I was too confident. Did you promise them something? Pu Yuanzhong asked in shock. I told them that I was 60% confident. I overestimated myself. Dong Yutang smiled bitterly. How can you be so muddle-headed? How can supreme rank pills be so easy to refine? If you were less confident, you wouldn't be like this now, Pu Yuanzhong said helplessly. This was almost an unspoken rule for alchemists. Unless they were truly confident, alchemists usually wouldn't overpromise. If he could refine it, everything would be fine. However, if he could not refine it, it would be embarrassing, just like Dong Yutang's current awkward situation. It's largely because it's a favor from two eternal stage martial warriors. I couldn't refuse them. Dong Yutang sighed. Pu Yuanzhong wanted to scold him, but in the end, he shook his head and sighed. To be honest, if he was a 9th level grandmaster, it would probably be difficult for him to refuse the favor of two eternal stage martial warriors as well. Chapter 1805 The Request from Two Eternal Stage Martial Warriors. 1. Dong Yutang's matter seemed complicated. Pu Yuanzhong and Cecilia were worried. They were afraid that this old friend of theirs would anger the two eternal stage martial warriors. Although they probably wouldn't do anything to him, it wasn't a good thing to make them angry. Wang Teng didn't think that it was much of a problem. Since the two eternal stage martial warriors chose to let Dong Yutang refine the yin-yang dragon essence pill, they must have been prepared for the possibility of failure. It was unlikely they would make things difficult for him. As for this yin-yang dragon essence pill, he was only somewhat confident in refining it. He would not try to show off. Moreover, they had just met. There was no need for him to do this. Everyone waited for a while before two eternal stage martial warriors appeared outside the alchemy room. Dong Yutang received the news and went over to open the door. Greetings, sirs. Everyone stood up and bowed. Even a grandmaster alchemist had to show respect to eternal stage martial warriors. There was a man and a woman, both appearing to be in their middle ages. The man had a robust physique, exuding a sense of power, while the woman was a beautiful and dignified lady. However, they were not pure humans. Instead, they were tigers. There was white fur on their faces and eyes that resembled animal pupils, with a faint golden hue. Wang Teng felt a chill down his spine just by looking at those eyes. It was as if he was looking at two terrifying universe behemoths. It was clear that even if these two were a little poor, they were still eternal stage martial warriors. Ordinary people could not compare to them. No one dared to be negligent. There's no need to be so polite, the female eternal stage martial warrior said rather amiably. Old Dong, we've known each other for so long, why call us sirs? Aren't you mocking me? The male eternal stage martial warrior waved his hand. When he saw Wang Teng, he asked curiously, why are there so many grandmasters gathered here today? Sir Hu Qi, this is Grandmaster Wang Teng, Dong Yutang quickly introduced him and explained why they were gathered here. Oh, an 8th level Grandmaster in his 20s who refined Grandmaster level pills 12 times in 3 consecutive days. Hu Qi looked at Wang Teng differently. He asked gently, "You're a freshman? That means we're your seniors." The female Eternal Stage martial warrior sized up Wang Teng curiously and smiled. Wang Teng was surprised. These 2 Eternal Stage martial warriors were students. You don't have to be surprised. Many people in the academy have ascended to the Eternal Stage but haven't left the academy, Hu Qi said. After we advanced to the Eternal level, our status changed a little, but in essence, we're still students of the academy. I see. Wang Teng nodded. You can just call us seniors. You don't have to call us sirs, Hu Qi said. Thank you. Wang Teng smiled. Dong Yutang and the others were surprised. It seemed like both the Eternal Stage martial warriors thought highly of Grandmaster Wang Teng too. Hu Qi nodded and didn't say anything else. He turned to look at Dong Yutang. Grandmaster Dong, how's the refinement of the Yin-Yang Dragon Essence pill going? Really ashamed. Dong Yutang hesitated for a moment. Hu Qi's expression changed slightly, but in the end, he sighed and said helplessly, I can't blame you. Supreme rank pills are indeed more challenging to make. Dong Yutang heaved a sigh of relief when he heard that. Old Dong, do you dare to refine it again? I still have 1 set of materials left. Hu Qi pondered for a moment and said. Dong Yutang was shocked and looked at Hu Qi in disbelief. The fact that he was being given another chance to refine the pill was rather unexpected. This level of trust couldn't help but touch him. However, he smiled bitterly and said, to be honest, after trying to refine it, I've discovered my shortcomings. With my attainments, it's still too early for me to refine a supreme rank pill, so, at this point, Hu Qi already understood what Dong Yutang meant. He didn't say anything else. Do you know any other peak-level Grandmaster alchemists that you can introduce to us? The female Eternal Stage martial warrior said unwillingly. An alchemist at the peak of the Grandmaster level. Dong Yutang fell into deep thought. There were not many alchemists at the peak of the Grandmaster level. Moreover, many of them were in seclusion to cultivate, preparing to advance to the divine level. Otherwise, they might be out enhancing their strength, making them hard to find. For a moment, he really could not find a suitable candidate. When Hu Qi saw this, he roughly understood his difficulties. In fact, they chose Dong Yutang previously because they were familiar with him, and also because they couldn't find any other peak Grandmaster level alchemist. Otherwise, they wouldn't have solely relied on Dong Yutang. Grandmasters, do you know any peak-level Grandmaster alchemists? The female Eternal Stage martial warriors turned to Pu Yuanzhong and the others and asked. As for Wang Teng, they ignored him. Wang Teng was too young. Although Dong Yutang praised Wang Teng's abilities greatly, they needed to see to believe it. They hadn't witnessed Wang Teng's skills personally, so it was natural that they didn't have much of a reaction. They wouldn't expect Wang Teng to be able to refine a supreme rank pill either. Pu Yuanzhong and Cecilia thought about it and shook their heads. They were close to Dong Yutang. If Dong Yutang didn't know any, they probably wouldn't know anyone either. Chapter 1806 The Request from 2 Eternal Stage martial warriors. 2, however, no one noticed that Dong Yutang's eyes had lit up. He looked at Wang Ting with a burning gaze. Wang Ting noticed it and felt speechless. Was Grandmaster Wang Ting planning to let him do it? In that case, we'll take our leave. The 2 Eternal Stage martial warriors were a little disappointed and prepared to leave. Wait! Dong Yutang immediately exclaimed. Old Dong, you know someone? Hu Qi's eyes lit up as he looked at Dong Yutang. No. Dong Yutang felt a little awkward, but he quickly looked at Wang Teng and said, but I think you can talk to Grandmaster Wang Teng. Hu Qi was stunned. He looked at Wang Teng and asked, Junior Wang Teng, do you know anyone? No, I don't. Wang Teng's eyes flickered as he shook his head. It's not someone he knows. It's him, Dong Yutang said hurriedly. Him. Hu Qi was stunned. He even suspected that Dong Yutang was joking with him. Grandmaster Wang Teng, didn't you say that you were confident in refining a 9th level Grandmaster pill? Dong Yutang asked. I do have some confidence, Wang Ting said helplessly. Hu Qi also seemed to have caught on. He exchanged glances with the female eternal stage martial warrior and his eyes lit up slightly. Then, are you confident about refining this supreme rank pill? Dong Yutang asked with hope. Well, Wang Ting pretended to hesitate and pondered for a while. He wasn't thinking about how confident he was, but whether he should refine this yin-yang dragon essence pill or not. Originally, he hadn't intended to get involved, but he hadn't expected Dong Yutang to bring it up. 2 eternal stage martial warriors were involved. He had to consider this matter carefully. Junior Wang Teng, if you can make it, please do us a favor. We will not let your efforts go unrewarded, Hu Qi immediately assured. I've dabbled with the yin-yang dragon essence pill before, Wang Teng replied calmly. Oh, Grandmaster Wang Ting knows about the yin-yang dragon essence pill. Dong Yutang was even more surprised. Ha ha ha, I saw the yin-yang dragon essence pill by chance. Wang Ting laughed. If he told Dong Yutang that he got it from him, he wondered what his expression would be. That's even better. This is fate. Dong Yutang was full of excitement. The 2 eternal stage martial warriors felt a glimmer of hope. Could there be such a remarkable coincidence in the world? They wanted to make the yin-yang dragon essence pill and Wang Ting happened to know how to do it. The yin-yang dragon essence pill was a very rare supreme rank pill. Not many people knew about it. They didn't expect that they would randomly encounter an alchemist who happened to have some familiarity with the yin-yang dragon essence pill. It was as if he had delivered himself to their door. They looked at Wang Ting with even more hope. They wanted to hear an affirmative answer from him. Only 50 to 60% confident, Wang Ting glanced at Dong Yutang and said. Now that he had become an 8th level Grandmaster Alchemist, he was confident in it. His spiritual power was powerful, and he had the help of his divine flames. 50 to 60%. Hu Qi couldn't help but glance at Dong Yutang. He had said the same thing before, but he failed miserably. You couldn't blame him for having concerns. The materials to refine the yin-yang dragon essence pill were not easy to obtain. They could not afford to waste any of them. If they were to fail again, they might have to give up. However, Wang Ting's confidence had already surprised them. At least there was hope of success. Junior Wang Ting, are you sure you are that confident? The female eternal stage martial warrior hesitated for a moment before asking worriedly. This is my lowest confidence level. Wang Ting nodded with certainty. Lowest confidence. Hu Qi was even more surprised when he heard this. This junior Wang Ting was bold. However, Wang Ting didn't look like he was lying to him. He was assured. If he was really that confident, he could give it a try. When Dong Yutang told him that he was 50 to 60% confident, he dared to give it a try. Now, with Wang Ting sounding even more confident, there was naturally no reason to doubt. Dong Yutang and the others were also greatly surprised. They exchanged glances, astonished that Grandmaster Wang Ting's level of confidence was this high. Seniors, you can discuss this. This isn't a small matter, Wang Ting said. There's no need to do so. We've already made a decision. You can refine it, Hu Qi suddenly said with a glint in his eyes. Oh. Wang Ting was surprised. Senior Hu Qi was a straightforward person. He made such a decision without any hesitation. No wonder he had given the yin-yang dragon essence pill to Dong Yutang to refine. To be honest, we prepared 3 sets of materials. 2 sets of Azure Dragon Star Cores came from Ultimate Stage Imperial Level Star Beasts and the 3rd set is the Star Core of a Titan Level Star Beast. Hu Qi suddenly said something that shocked everyone. The Star Core of a Titan Level Star Beast. Wang Ting's pupils constricted. It was the Star Core of a Titan Level Star Beast. A Titan Level Star Beast was equivalent to the Eternal Stage. The value of its Star Core was unimaginable. At this moment, he finally understood why these 2 Eternal Stage martial warriors were in such a tight financial situation. It wasn't because they had bought the Star Core of an Imperial Level Star Beast, but because of the Star Core of the Titan Level Star Beast. Chapter 1807 The Request from 2 Eternal Stage Martial Warriors. 3. Even Eternal Stage Martial Warriors would have to spend a lot of money to buy the star cores of Titan-level star beasts. At the same time, he also understood why Hu Qi dared to entrust Dong Yutang with a set of materials for refining. It turned out they had a backup plan. Their real hope was the third set of ingredients. Dong Yutang and the others were left speechless by the revelation. Was this how wealthy Eternal Stage Martial Warriors could be? They could afford to use the star core of a Titan-level star beast to make alchemy purposes. It was more than enough to make a divine-level pill, much less a supreme-rank pill. So, feel free to use this second set of materials for refining. Don't bear any pressure. If you succeed, I will provide you with the third set of ingredients. If it fails, then we'll have to wait for the next breeding period of our clan. However, at that time, we might have to seek out a divine-level alchemist, Hu Qi continued. All right, don't worry, I'll do my best. Wang Ting nodded. He felt their trust. Since they told him about the third set of ingredients, it meant that they had placed their hopes on him. Thank you, Hu Qi said in a low voice. As soon as he finished speaking, he waved his hand and a large box appeared. He handed the box over to Wang Ting. Wang Ting didn't say anything else. He took the box and prepared to rent another alchemy room. Grandmaster Wang Ting, why don't you use my alchemy room? Pu Yuanzhong suddenly asked. That won't be appropriate. I will need 2 to 3 days. Wang Ting hesitated. Don't worry, just 2 or 3 days won't cost me many points. You might not be aware, but our alchemy chambers are leased for the long term, Pu Yuanzhong said proudly, exuding an air of extravagance. Damn, they are rich. Wang Ting silently grumbled in his smile. However, he still smiled and nodded in agreement. Every single point saved counts. Those were points after all. Then, everyone watched him as he entered the alchemy room. Inside the alchemy room, Wang Ting put the box down and took a look around. The environment was quite similar to the alchemy room he had rented before. The layout and facilities were virtually identical. Wang Ting sat cross-legged on the ground. The prescription of the yin-yang dragon essence pill flashed past his mind. He was in deep thought. I'm only at the 8th level Grandmaster level. I have some confidence, but it's not enough. If I can reach the 9th level Grandmaster level, my chances will be higher. This thought appeared in Wang Ting's mind. Since those 2 Eternal Stage Martial Warriors held high expectations for him, he couldn't let them down. Having more confidence before making the pill was a good thing. So, he decided to collect some attribute bubbles first to enhance his alchemical skills to the 9th rank of the master level. He immediately took action. Wang Ting's spiritual power crept out from the ground silently, extending in all directions like the branches of a large tree, picking up the attribute bubbles dropped by the alchemists around him. Alchemy *150 Alchemy *80 Alchemy *60 The attribute bubbles merged into Wang Ting's mind, allowing his alchemy mastery to rise gradually. At this stage, normal alchemists wouldn't be able to provide him with attribute bubbles. Only the attributes dropped by 8th level grandmasters and 9th level alchemists were useful to him. Hence, his progress would be comparatively slower. This time, he spent a full day gathering attribute bubbles before finally elevating his alchemist attribute to the 9th grandmaster level. Alchemist, 9150 10,000, Grandmaster, this isn't easy. I finally reached the 9th level Grandmaster level. Wang Ting heaved a sigh of relief. I can start making the yin-yang dragon essence pill now. The next moment, a gleam flashed in his eyes as his gaze fell upon the box beside him. He waved his hand. The box opened with a click. 2 golden glowing star cores appeared before his eyes. These 2 star cores were incredibly dazzling, adorned with intricate golden patterns that were profound and mysterious like the inscribed laws of the origin of metal. Metal element star beast. Wang Ting muttered to himself. It looked like the 2 eternal level martial warriors were metal element martial warriors. Otherwise, they wouldn't have used the star cores of metal element star beasts to make the yin-yang dragon essence pill. The 2 star cores emitted a dazzling light that captured his gaze. He couldn't shift his eyes away from it. So this is the star core of an ultimate stage imperial level star beast. A strange glint flashed in Wang Teng's eyes. These two eternal stage martial warriors are really wealthy. I wonder what the star core of that Titan-level star beast looks like. Suddenly, a few attribute bubbles emerged from the star cores, falling to the side. They even drop attribute bubbles. Wang Teng was somewhat surprised and immediately collected them. Origin of metal asterisk 500, origin of metal asterisk 600. Oh my. As Wang Ting sensed the enlightenment of the laws of origin from the attribute bubbles, he couldn't help but inhale sharply. He was flabbergasted. They provided 110 points of power of origin, as expected of the star core of an ultimate stage imperial level star beast. Wang Teng didn't expect this windfall. 1100 points of power of origin attributes was not a small gain by any means. After the moment of astonishment, Wang Teng quickly began the process of making the yin-yang dragon essence pill. Time flowed slowly by, and before he knew it, another day had passed. Outside the alchemy room, Dong Yutang and the others were waiting anxiously. The two eternal stage martial warriors didn't leave either. They were anxious too, but they didn't show it on their faces. Many factions were waiting for Wang Teng to come out. However, 2 days had passed and there was still no sign of him. Many people were puzzled. Chapter 1808. The request from two eternal stage martial warriors. 4. I wonder what Wang Ting and the Grandmasters are doing. That's right. He has been in there for so many days. It looks like their conversation went well. If not, they would have come out long ago. Wang Ting is a monster. His martial talent is already impressive, but his alchemical proficiency is equally terrifying. That's right. I've inquired about those Grandmasters. They're all at the 8th or 9th level Grandmasters. Wang Teng's alchemical skills are quite strong if he's able to converse with them. I think two eternal stage martial warriors went in along the way. When did they go in? When you went out to play. F***K. I stepped away for a while and two eternal stage martial warriors came. Did they come out? No, they're still inside. Why didn't you tell us this important piece of news earlier? You idiot. Are those two eternal stage martial warriors looking for a Grandmaster alchemist to make some pills? The group of them immediately began discussing. However, they didn't leave. After waiting for so many days, how could they give up halfway? Suddenly, dark clouds gathered in the sky, swirling right above the alchemy room where Wang Teng and the others were. Lightning calamity. Oh my god, someone is really making pills. I wonder which Grandmaster is making it. This lightning calamity seems a little scary. Look at the scale. The lightning seemed powerful. Looks like I didn't wait in vain. Everyone looked up in astonishment. A commotion spread among them. Boom. A clap of thunder resounded, echoing through the sky with great momentum. It even drew the attention of the staff inside the main hall. At the same time, outside the alchemy room, Dong Yutang and the others were elated. Their expressions changed abruptly. Success. The two eternal stage martial warriors stood up from their chairs. They looked at the door of Wang Teng's alchemy room excitedly. They hadn't expected it to be a success. The appearance of the pill calamity indicated that the alchemical process had reached the last congregation stage. Once they passed the lightning calamity, it would be considered a complete success. How could they not be excited? Originally, the two eternal stage martial warriors were prepared to give up. Wang Teng had been inside for 2 days and there was no news at all. But in the final moment, he succeeded. Boom! A column of golden light shot up into the sky, piercing through the gathering dark clouds. Within that column of light, 3 dazzling and round pills floated up, emitting a rich medicinal fragrance. 3 pills. The 3 Grandmasters widened their eyes in surprise. Especially Dong Yutang. He didn't make any pills but Wang Teng made 3. Good. 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 Hu Qi burst out laughing. Junior Wang Teng's alchemy mastery is amazing, the eternal stage female martial warrior exclaimed. Who would have thought? It's hard to imagine he's just a freshman, Hu Qi remarked. Hu Qi, the calamity of the yin-yang dragon essence pill must be extraordinary. We will resist it together later, the eternal stage martial warrior said grimly. Don't worry, I won't let anything happen to this pill. Hu Qi patted his chest. You can both relax. Grandmaster Wang Teng has a weapon that can withstand the lightning calamity, Dong Yutang added with a smile, seeing their improved mood. Oh, what kind of weapon can withstand the calamity lightning? Hu Qi asked in surprise. You'll see later, Dong Yutang replied mysteriously. Ha ha ha, old Dong, why are you leaving me hanging? Hu Qi laughed. Boom. As they spoke, a calamity lightning descended from the sky. From below, a purple light rushed upwards at an extremely fast speed, colliding with the bolt of lightning. Boom. A resounding explosion filled the air as the first calamity lightning was blocked by the purple light. Huh. Hu Qi looked at the purple light and couldn't help but mutter, is that a brick? Cough, I think it's a seal. However, the design is a little strange, Dong Yutang said. Yes, that makes sense. With Wang Ting's status, how could he wield a brick as a weapon? Hu Qi nodded seriously. The female eternal stage martial warrior's expression turned strange. However, their attention was quickly drawn once again to that purple light. Bolts of lightning struck down one after another, all blocked by the purple light. When the 8th calamity lightning arrived, the seal seemed to have reached its limit. Hu Qi turned serious. He prepared to act. The final calamity lightning was the most terrifying. The seal had reached its limit, so it was unlikely able to withstand the 9th bolt of lightning. However, at this moment, a figure shot into the sky from the alchemy room. Boom. The 9th calamity lightning descended with a resounding boom, resembling a fearsome thunderous dragon roaring as it charged toward that figure. Grandmaster Wang Ting, Dong Yutang and the others were flabbergasted. How could a Grandmaster resist the lightning calamity personally? Grandmaster Wang Ting was too reckless. Hu Qi had initially intended to lend a hand, but he seemed to have realized something. A hint of curiosity flashed in his eyes and he stopped in his tracks. Boom. The lightning calamity struck Wang Ting's body instantly. Endless lightning engulfed him. The lightning was blindingly bright, completely obscuring Wang Ting's form. Hu Qi was stunned. This Wang Ting was quite bold. The 9th lightning was formidable. Yet, he confronted it directly. Where did he get his courage from? Chapter 1809 The Request from 2 Eternal Stage Martial Warriors. 5. Junior Wang Ting is too reckless. How can he face it himself? The female Eternal Stage Martial Warrior said anxiously. She was grateful to Wang Ting for successfully refining the Yin-Yang Dragon Essence Pill and didn't want anything to happen to him. However, they soon realized that they were overthinking. Wang Ting wasn't afraid of the power of lightning at all. He seemed to be as comfortable as a fish in the water as he bathed in the lightning. Dong Yutang and the others were stunned. Their mouths were slightly agape, and their hearts shook. Grandmaster Wang Ting is too monstrous. An alchemist resisted the calamity lightning head-on. That was an unexpected change. Aren't we a little too weak? Dong Yutang, Pu Yuanzhong, and Cecilia looked at each other and asked hesitantly. As Heaven Stage martial warriors, they didn't dare to directly confront the lightning calamity like this. Wang Teng was merely at the Cosmos stage, yet he was able to achieve such a feat. This made them wonder if they were too weak. I think that Grandmaster Wang Ting is too powerful. Cecilia smiled bitterly. You don't have to compare yourself to him. If I'm not wrong, Junior Wang Ting has some kind of powerful physique talent and also cultivated a powerful physique training scripture. That's why he can withstand the power of the calamity lightning. Hu Qi's eyes gleamed with insight, and he stroked his chin with a curious expression, speculating. It was truly difficult to connect a Grandmaster alchemist with a physique martial warrior. The difference was too significant. Physique talent. Physique training scripture. Dong Yutang and the others' expressions became extremely interesting, as if they had heard something extremely amusing. At this moment, the power of lightning within the thunderclouds gathered and formed the last calamity lightning, the 10th calamity lightning. This was what made a supreme rank pill different. It possessed the 10th calamity lightning. Hu Qi's expression turned solemn. The ninth calamity lightning of a ninth-level Grandmaster pill was already very terrifying. Thus, there was no need to mention how terrifying the 10th calamity lightning would be. Countless forces of lightning converged, transforming into a terrifying pillar of lightning that crashed down with a deafening roar. Before the lightning around Wang Teng's body dissipated, the 10th calamity lightning arrived and landed on his body. Wang Teng felt how terrifying the 10th bolt of lightning was. He activated the True Dragon Battle Physique, Pseudo, after activating the ancient god's body. Boom! A loud explosion erupted in his body. The divine flames swept out, condensing on the surface of his body into scales of fiery dragons. It covered his entire body instantaneously. The green dragon scales formed by the emerald-glazed flame resembled a green armor, giving Wang Ting a majestic appearance. An aura of tremendous strength emanated from within him. What is this? Hu Qi and the female eternal stage martial warrior saw what happened through the lightning and were shocked. Junior Wang Ting continued to exceed their expectations time and time again. That green flame seems to be a divine flame, right? The female eternal stage martial warrior asked. Yes, I think so. Hu Qi nodded. At this moment, he knew why Wang Ting was confident in refining the Yin-Yang Dragon Essence pill even though he was an 8th-level Grandmaster. It was said that divine flames possessed a specific unique power that could aid alchemists in their elixir refining, increasing the rate of successful pill formation. What divine flame are you talking about? Dong Yutang and the others asked in surprise. The words divine flame were like a bomb to alchemists. They were extremely sensitive to it. You might not be aware, but Wang Ting has a divine flame. Hu Qi smiled. What? Grandmaster Wang Ting possessed a divine flame? Really? The three Grandmasters were too shocked and exclaimed in disbelief. There's no mistake. You can't see the situation under the lightning, but I can see that he is using a divine flame. It's a green flame, Hu Qi said. Green flame. The three of them were dumbfounded. They were unable to calm down for a long time. No wonder. No wonder. Dong Yutang muttered absent-mindedly. He finally knew why Wang Ting was confident in refining supreme rank pills even though he was only an 8th-level Grandmaster. Of course, he didn't think that it was just because of the divine flame. Wang Ting's mastery in alchemy must be great as well. All these factors allowed Wang Ting to refine supreme rank pills when he was only an 8th-level Grandmaster. Alchemists were a profession that valued skills. There are no shortcuts or luck involved. While they were talking, the lightning in the sky dissipated, revealing Wang Ting's face. The green dragon scales on the surface of his body had long vanished. Perhaps among the people present, only the two eternal stage martial warriors witnessed what happened just now. In the eyes of outsiders, Wang Ting had blocked the calamity lightning with his physical strength, emerging unscathed. Not a single piece of his clothing was damaged, and coupled with his calm expression, he looked extremely dashing. This true dragon battle physique, Pseudo, seems incredible, Wang Ting thought to himself. This was Wang Ting's first time using the true dragon battle physique, Pseudo, and he understood how powerful this physique was. He might be able to withstand an ordinary universe-level attack. Of course, it would be a different story if he used the power of origin. Chapter 18:10 Eternal Stage Matter. Abnormal movement in the chaotic star sea. 1. In the sky. The dark clouds finally began to disperse slowly, causing many people to heave a sigh of relief. The calamity lightning just now was too terrifying. One could feel the boundless heavenly might. Many martial warriors below the heaven stage almost couldn't breathe. They gazed at the figure standing resolutely in mid-air, their eyes filled with awe. What kind of calamity lightning was that? There were 10 of them. That's right. Doesn't a 9th-level Grandmaster pill only have 9 bolts of calamity lightning? You guys don't know this, right? Above the 9th-level Grandmaster pill is an even harder pill to refine. It's called a supreme rank pill and it's very rare. Supreme rank pill. Supreme rank pill? I've lived for hundreds of years and I only knew about this today. That's not important. What's important is that Wang Ting can refine supreme rank pills. Doesn't that mean that his alchemy skills have reached the peak of the Grandmaster level? That must be the case. Otherwise, how could he refine a supreme rank pill? He's insane. Wang Ting reached the peak of the Grandmaster level at such a young age. This is unbelievable. Most importantly, he can resist calamity lightning. This doesn't seem right. Silence. As the lightning calamity came to an end, the onlookers couldn't help but start discussing among themselves. The astonishment in their hearts remained for a long time. The impact Wang Ting had brought to them was truly immense. They had thought that refining Grandmaster-level pills 12 times in 3 days was already remarkable, but they didn't expect there to be more shocking things to come. That was a supreme rank pill. After many people understood what a supreme rank pill was, they knew what it meant to be able to refine a supreme rank pill. It was safe to say that an alchemist who could refine supreme rank pills was already half a step into the divine level. To refine supreme rank pills, relying solely on external forces and luck was insufficient. One's mastery of alchemy must reach a profound level. Otherwise, it was all just empty talk. Wang Ting ignored everyone's expressions and picked up the attribute bubbles around him. Constellation Force, Lightning, * 2500 Constellation Force, Lightning, * 3000 Heaven Earth Calamity Lightning * 600 Heaven Earth Calamity Lightning * 800 Not bad. Wang Ting's eyes lit up. He didn't expect to obtain that much attributes this time. It was even more than the amount he obtained during the previous 12 times. The lightning constellation force merged into his body and flowed through his limbs and bones. It entered his inner cosmos and turned into purple constellations. Boom! There was a loud explosion. Wang Ting's constellation lightning force had reached the 3rd level of the cosmos stage. Constellation lightning force, 2830,000, cosmos stage 3rd level. Wang Ting looked at his attributes board and nodded in satisfaction. No one would have thought that his realm would increase by 1 level after refining a few Grandmaster level pills. He killed 2 birds with 1 stone. The recent 12 calamity lightnings had provided Wang Ting with a lot of constellation lightning forces. He was already at the peak of the 2nd level of the cosmos stage. After obtaining another 5,500 points of attributes, his constellation lightning force leveled up immediately. Without any hesitation. Then, there was the Heaven-Earth Calamity Lightning. He had obtained a total of 1,400 points, which was not a small amount. The calamity lightning caused by this supreme rank pill was indeed extraordinary. What made Wang Ting even happier was that after the 1,400 attribute points merged into the Heaven-Earth Calamity Lightning in his inner cosmos, the ball of Heaven-Earth Calamity Lightning underwent a mysterious change. It seemed to be transforming. The entire ball of Heaven-Earth Calamity Lightning suddenly expanded. After the Calamity Lightning disappeared, the pillar of light also dissipated slowly. 3 round pills appeared in front of him, emitting an even stronger fragrance. Many people smelled this fragrance and their spirits were shaken. Wang Ting immediately kept the 3 pills into the jade bottle and sealed them. Then, he descended from the sky and disappeared in front of everyone. Chapter 18:11 Eternal Matter. Abnormal movement in the chaotic star sea. 2. In the alchemy room, the dome was closed. Wang Ting walked out of the alchemy room and met Dong Yutang and the others in the hall again. Junior brother Wang Ting, no, Grandmaster Wang Ting, Hu Chi's white-haired face was filled with excitement. He strode forward and changed the way he addressed Wang Ting. Wang Ting was caught between laughter and tears. How realistic. Grandmaster Wang Ting, have you succeeded in making the yin-yang dragon essence pill? The eternal stage female martial warrior walked forward and asked. They saw Wang Ting resisting the lightning calamity, but they still wanted to hear the answer from his mouth. They were afraid of unforeseen circumstances. The yin-yang dragon essence pill was too important to them. Thankfully, I haven't disappointed your expectations. Seeing their anxiousness, Wang Ting didn't keep them in suspense and immediately took out a jade bottle. He handed it over to the 2 of them. The 3 yin-yang dragon essence pills lay quietly inside. The 2 eternal stage martial warriors widened their eyes and stared at them intently as if trying to discern something. Dong Yutang and the others came over and asked after some hesitation, Can you open it for us to take a look? Hu Qi looked up at Wang Ting instinctively. Of course. Wang Ting nodded nonchalantly. Hu Qi took a deep breath and opened the jade bottle. He poured out a yin-yang dragon essence pill and let it float above his palm. 1, 2, 3. Gasp, 8 patterns. Dong Yutang and the others stared at the yin-yang dragon essence pill, looking closely at the patterns on its surface and carefully counting them. They couldn't help but gasp in shock. 8 patterns meant that the yin-yang dragon essence pill had reached 80% of its medicinal power. They couldn't help but look at Wang Ting, who had a calm expression on his face. Their hearts were churning with astonishment. The yin-yang dragon essence pill was a supreme rank pill, but it could reach 80% efficacy. Just how profound was Wang Ting's mastery of alchemy? At this moment, they couldn't help but feel a genuine sense of admiration for Wang Ting. 8 patterns. Looks like Grandmaster Wang Ting's 50% to 60% confidence is a conservative estimate, Hu Qi said with a smile. He was elated. He thought Wang Ting was being modest. Initially, I'm only 50% to 60% confident. However, I accidentally broke through to the 9th Grandmaster level, so my confidence increased. Wang Ting smiled and replied. Hu Qi. Dong Yutang and the others stared at Wang Ting in disbelief. They stuttered, Grandmaster Wang Ting, you advanced to the 9th Grandmaster level? That's right. Maybe I'm just lucky. When I was studying the yin-yang dragon essence pill, I seemed to have understood something and achieved a breakthrough, Wang Ting said with a straight face, nonchalantly spinning a tail. Dong Yutang and the others. What a sudden breakthrough. How come they never experienced such a sudden breakthrough? The 3 of them looked at Wang Ting's calm expression and felt a little jealous. Seeing their expressions, Wang Ting felt a bit guilty. Was he overdoing it? They were all his elders. He would take note next time. Grandmasters, there's no need to be like this. Actually, I only encounter such situations occasionally. It normally happens 2 or 3 times a year. It's not that common, Wang Ting reassured them. Dong Yutang and the others. 2 or 3 times a year wasn't common? Did they have some misunderstanding about enlightenment? Hu Qi also caught on and gave them a peculiar look. Then, he looked at Wang Ting. This junior brother didn't know how to console people. Ahem. The eternal stage martial warrior coughed awkwardly and broke the awkward atmosphere. Grandmaster Wang Ting, since you're confident in making the yin-yang dragon essence pill, how about we entrust you with refining the star core of the Titan-level star beast? That's right, that's right. The yin-yang dragon essence pill made from the star core of a Titan-level star beast is what we truly need. Hu Qi regained his senses. He almost forgot his primary purpose here. It will be harder to make a pill from the star core from a Titan-level star beast. I've never seen a Titan-level star beast star core, so I can't promise you anything. Wang Ting hesitated. Based on what I know, the star core of a Titan-level star beast might be a little different. Hu Qi nodded. A jade box appeared in his hand and he said in a low voice, "This is the star core of the Titan-level star beast." Wang Ting glanced curiously at the jade box. Even without activating his real eye, he could see the mysterious runes on the box's surface. They possessed sealing power. This jade box is specially used to keep the star cores of Titan-level star beasts as they contain a special substance called the eternal matter, Hu Qi said in a serious tone. Eternal matter, Wang Ting muttered with a sharp glint in his eyes. Yes, eternal matter. This is the key to becoming an eternal stage martial warrior. Hu Qi nodded. The key to becoming an eternal stage martial warrior. Wang Ting frowned and asked, "What is eternal matter?" Eternal matter is a peculiar substance in the world. Eternal stage martial warriors extract this substance from the universe and incorporate it into themselves, making their souls and bodies immortal. That way, they can truly coexist and decline with the universe. As long as they possess the eternal matter, eternal stage martial warriors cannot be killed. To eliminate them, you must completely erase the eternal matter. Even a trace of the eternal matter can potentially lead to revival, Hu Qi explained. Chapter 18:12 Eternal Matter, Abnormal Movement in the Chaotic Star Sea. 3. To coexist and decline with the universe. Immune to being killed. Wang Ting's heart trembled, and he couldn't calm down for a long time. Eternal stage martial warriors were truly incredible. This was intimidating. That meant that even the weakest eternal stage martial warrior would be hard to kill, unless the opponent's strength was much weaker than theirs, making it possible to completely remove their eternal matter. Universe stage martial warriors had eternal life, but they would still die. They couldn't be compared to eternal stage martial warriors. Hu Qi smiled when he saw Wang Ting's expression. When he first heard this secret, he was flabbergasted too. He couldn't fully comprehend it. The eternal stage martial warriors had reached a transcendent realm. Only by stepping into this realm could one understand the profundity within. To make a supreme rank pill using the star core of this Titan-level star beast, you need to integrate eternal matter into the different spiritual herbs. Dong Yutang opened his mouth and said, "Integrate eternal matter into spiritual herbs." Wang Tung frowned. He had never tried this before and had never received any knowledge regarding this. Honestly, this was getting a bit beyond his scope. I didn't think that you wanted to use the star core of a Titan-level star beast to make the yin-yang dragon essence pill. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have dared to claim that I could refine it. It's too difficult for a Grandmaster alchemist to integrate eternal matter. This isn't something a Grandmaster alchemist can do. Even a Grandmaster at the peak might not be able to do it, Dong Yutang said with a bitter smile. That's right. Only eternal stage martial warriors can control the eternal matter. Pu Yuanzhong nodded in agreement. There might be unpredictable consequences if a Grandmaster alchemist touched the eternal matter forcefully. Cecilia glanced at the two eternal stage martial warriors and reminded them. Wang Teng couldn't help but look towards Hu Qi. Looking at the Grandmaster's expressions, he felt that he shouldn't agree to make the pill using this Titan-level star core. In fact, the Grandmasters originally intended to mention these concerns earlier. But considering that Wang Teng initially used the star core of an ultimate stage Imperial-level star beast, the issue shouldn't be too significant. To avoid affecting Wang Teng's mindset, they refrained from bringing it up at the time. You don't need to worry about this. The two of us can assist Grandmaster Wang Ting in manipulating the eternal matter, Hu Qi said. I wasn't confident, but after seeing Grandmaster Wang Ting's divine flame, I feel that only you can refine this yin-yang dragon essence pill. He saw it. Wang Teng was surprised. We saw it when you were resisting the lightning. The female eternal stage martial warrior smiled and said. That's right. If it's the divine flame, it might be able to refine the eternal matter. Dong Yutang's eyes brightened, and he said excitedly, Grandmaster Wang Ting, can you let us see your divine flame? I've been an alchemist for so many years, but I've never seen what a divine flame looks like. Pu Yuanzhong and Cecilia also looked at Wang Ting with eager anticipation in their eyes. Wang Ting couldn't help but find it amusing. These alchemists were at the pinnacle of the Grandmaster level, yet when they heard about the divine flame, they acted like children who had seen a captivating toy. He didn't reject it. He stretched out his palm and a green flame appeared. It burned silently on his palm and a scorching heat spread out. It's really a divine flame. Excitement appeared in Dong Yutang's eyes. He wanted to touch the green flame. Be careful. Wang Teng quickly withdrew his hand backward. Oh right. Look at me, I'm too excited. Dong Yutang jolted and regained his composure. A 9th Grandmaster level alchemist displaying such impulsive behavior. If his masters and even Grandmaster level disciples saw this, their jaws would probably drop. Their master wasn't like this. Ha ha ha, old Dong, this is a divine flame. Be careful. Hu Qi laughed uncontrollably. He was surprised when he saw the divine flame, but he wasn't an alchemist, so he wasn't as excited as Dong Yutang. Dong Yutang gave a wry smile when he heard Hu Qi teasing him. This is the emerald glazed flame, right? Pu Yuanzhong took a deep breath and asked after some hesitation. Yes. Wang Ting glanced at him in surprise. He hadn't expected this Grandmaster to recognize it. It seems like he has done some research. I've seen records of divine flames before. Pu Yuanzhong smiled. He couldn't hide the envy in his eyes. Grandmaster Wang Ting is really lucky. I was lucky. Wang Teng chuckled. What would happen if he took out the soul of Thousand Beasts' flame? Never mind, he should keep a low profile. They looked at the flame for some time before Wang Ting kept the emerald-glazed flame under their reluctant gazes. Dong Yutang gave Wang Ting a slightly reproachful look as if he was complaining that Wang Ting didn't let him take a longer look. Grandmaster Wang Ting, what do you think? Hu Qi asked. I can try. Wang Ting pondered for a moment and finally nodded. He was extremely curious about the eternal matter and wanted to see what it was. Also, with the help of 2 eternal stage martial warriors and the divine flame, he should be able to refine the eternal matter. Chapter 18:13 Eternal Matter, Abnormal Movement in the Chaotic Star Sea. 4. If one divine flame was not enough, then he would use 2. After all, he had plenty of divine flames anyway. There's no time to lose. Let's start refining now. A hint of joy flashed across Hu Qi's eyes as he said hurriedly. Wang Teng nodded. He still had many things to do and had already wasted a lot of time here. It would be best to refine the yin-yang dragon essence pill as soon as possible. Dong Yutang and the others moved their mouths as if they were about to say something, but in the end, they kept quiet. Honestly, they didn't think Wang Teng would succeed. The eternal matter wasn't something ordinary martial warriors could handle. Even with a divine flame, it would be very difficult to refine. However, since Wang Teng agreed, they couldn't say anything else. Moreover, the 2 eternal stage martial warriors were eager and enthusiastic. If they went against their opinions, they might end up offending them. Wang Teng and Hu Qi walked into the alchemy room. Wang Ting waved his hand and took out the black meteorite furnace. He then sat cross-legged and said, Senior Hu Qi, please take out the ingredients. Don't you need to rest? Hu Qi asked hesitantly. Was Grandmaster Wang Ting that confident? He just finished making a batch of yin-yang dragon essence pill and was already going to start another round of refinement. Don't worry. I have enough spiritual power. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to make Grandmaster level pills 12 times in 3 days, Wang Ting said confidently. Pardon my memory. It seems like Grandmaster Wang Ting's spiritual power is quite formidable. Hu Qi looked at him meaningfully. He was genuinely surprised, but he didn't say anything. He took out the last set of ingredients and handed it to him. He believed whatever Wang Ting said now. His previous questioning was just a subconscious reaction. In reality, he completely trusted and respected Wang Teng. For an alchemist with such attainments, even an eternal stage martial warrior like him had to show enough respect. This was a huge affirmation of Wang Teng's ability. Wang Ting smiled and took the last set of ingredients from Hu Qi. His gaze landed on the jade box. He couldn't help but feel excited. He wondered what kind of attribute bubbles would drop from a Titan-level star beast and the eternal matter. Wang Teng was looking forward to it. Previously, power of origin attribute bubbles were dropped from the star core of an ultimate stage imperial-level star beast. The core of this Titan-level star beast wouldn't be any worse. This was also the first time he saw the star core of a Titan-level star beast. A Titan-level star beast was equivalent to an eternal stage martial warrior. Naturally, its star core was extraordinary. Even though Wang Ting couldn't possess something like that now, just taking a look at it would be a good experience to broaden his horizons. He placed the jade box in front of him, took a deep breath, and slowly opened it. A dazzling light burst forth as 2 star cores unexpectedly shot out from the jade box as if attempting to escape. Wang Teng was taken aback. Fortunately, Hu Qi had already expected this situation. He smiled and reached out, grabbing the 2 star cores. No matter how the 2 star cores struggled, they could not escape from his hands. Ha ha ha, Titan-level star beast star cores aren't ordinary. Hu Qi laughed. Senior, are you trying to prank me? Wang Teng said speechlessly. Ignore him, this guy doesn't act his age. The female eternal stage martial warrior said with a hint of annoyance as she playfully slapped Hu Qi. Hee, don't mind me, don't mind me. I'm just joking. Hu Qi scratched his head and chuckled. Wang Teng laughed and shook his head. Then, his expression slightly froze as he looked at the 2 star cores in Hu Qi's hand. A few attribute bubbles dropped. There are attribute bubbles. A glint flashed across Wang Teng's eyes. He released his spiritual power and picked up the attribute bubbles. Eternal matter *10 eternal matter *5 eternal matter *8 eternal matter. Wang Teng gasped. He was deeply shocked. He didn't expect to find the attribute bubbles of the eternal matter. This was something he had never dared to imagine before. Even though he knew that this was the star core of a Titan-level star beast, he didn't dare to think about it. After all, he was only at the cosmos stage, and it seemed unlikely that he could make use of this eternal matter, let alone master it. Currently, he had reached his limit in mastering the power of origin. He had never heard of anyone being able to control the eternal matter at the cosmos stage, heaven stage, or even the universe stage. This was unreal. At this moment, the eternal matter entered his body and appeared in the inner cosmos. It scattered like specks of stars, forming a streak of light. Then, with a flicker, it merged into the black hole at the center. In an instant, Wang Teng felt a cool stream flowing through his soul. It was so comfortable that he almost moaned. Fortunately, that feeling was fleeting and did not last long. He forcefully endured it. The eternal matter entered my soul? Wang Teng was puzzled. Does this mean that my soul has an additional eternal attribute? He recalled what Hu Qi had said earlier. The eternal matter could render the soul and physical body immortal. Just now, the eternal matter seemed to have fused into his soul. Perhaps it could indeed bestow a trace of immortality to his soul. However, he could not verify this matter now, which made him feel helpless. After calming himself down, Wang Teng looked at his attributes board. Eternal matter, 2310,000, first rank. Are there different levels of eternal matter? Wang Teng's eyes flickered as he speculated in his mind. Unfortunately, discussing these matters now seemed too distant for him. He shook his head and decided not to think too much about it. Then, he looked at the two-star cores in Hu Qi's hands again. It would be great if they could drop more eternal matter attribute bubbles. Chapter 1814 Eternal Matter. Abnormal movement in the chaotic star sea. 5. Wang Ting was honestly greedy. Grandmaster Wang Ting, can we start now? Hu Qi didn't know what benefits Wang Ting had just received. He couldn't help but nudge him. All right, let's start now, Wang Ting nodded and said seriously. The eternal stage martial warrior's expressions turned serious. I'll have to trouble the two of you when I start refining the two-star cores. Wang Teng reminded him just in case. He didn't know if he could control the eternal matter now. According to the system's nature, since he possessed eternal matter, he should be able to control it. However, he did not want to appear too special in front of the two eternal stage martial warriors. Low profile. All right. Both of them nodded solemnly. I'll refine the other materials now. Wang Ting didn't waste any more time. He started refining the other materials apart from the two-star cores. He was very fast. One by one, the spiritual herbs flew into the furnace and turned into refined matter under the embrace of the emerald flames. There were no mishaps. Hu Qi and the other eternal stage martial warrior watched in astonishment. They looked at each other and their admiration for Wang Ting's alchemical skills grew even stronger. Not only was Wang Ting's refining speed fast, but his techniques were also extremely skillful and aesthetically pleasing. It was a sight to behold. Ordinary Grandmaster alchemists would not be able to do this. The two of them were completely immersed in Wang Ting's refining process, oblivious to the passage of time until Wang Ting suddenly spoke up. All right, throw the two-star cores into the furnace. Hu Qi and the other eternal stage martial warrior instantly turned alert. They each handled a star core and threw it into the furnace according to Wang Teng's instructions. Boom. Boom. As soon as the two Titan-level star beast star cores touched the flames, they tried to break free. Specks of starry light emerged, transforming into two starlight azure dragons that let out roaring sounds. HMPH, sinful beast, how dare you resist? Hu Qi snorted coldly and was about to suppress them. Senior, don't be too rough, A gentle suppression will suffice, Wang Ting immediately advised. Hu Qi was stunned for a moment and immediately nodded. He somehow managed to trap the two-star cores within the flames. The two azure dragons were instantly dispersed and returned to their cores. Wang Ting's eyes lit up. He saw more attribute bubbles appearing and floating above the two-star cores. Get them. Eternal matter *12 eternal matter *15 eternal matter *10 eternal matter *20 awesome. A total of 57 points. It's even more than before. Wang Ting was elated. He almost laughed out loud. The corners of his lips curled up uncontrollably. However, Wang Ting quickly focused and shifted his attention away from the eternal matter. Now was the critical moment of refining the eternal matter. He could not afford to be careless. Very soon, Wang Ting realized that it was extremely difficult to refine the star cores of this Titan-level star beast. He had to exert all his efforts to activate the power of the divine flame, and only then did the two-star cores show signs of melting. It's not enough. He frowned again after a moment. Hu Qi and the others also noticed this situation and their expressions turned solemn. He didn't expect that even a divine flame couldn't refine the star cores. Looks like I have to use the soul of Thousand Beasts flame. Wang Ting felt helpless. Without any hesitation, he released the soul of Thousand Beasts flame and it entered the furnace. Boom! A scorching sensation erupted instantly as the collision of the emerald and red flames seemed to trigger a chemical reaction, causing the temperature to rise continuously. What? Hu Qi and the others were shocked. They widened their eyes and looked at the red flames. A second divine flame. The two of them couldn't help but look at each other in surprise and joy. Outside the alchemy room, Dong Yutong was stunned for a moment and asked, "Do you feel that the temperature seems to have risen a lot?" "Indeed." Pu Yuanzhong nodded. Could it be that divine flames are so terrifying that even the array formation in the alchemy room can't isolate the heat? Cecilia asked. The wonders of divine flames are far beyond our understanding. Dong Yutong shook his head. In the alchemy room, with the help of the two divine flames, the two-star cores finally melted completely, transforming into two clusters of sparkling lights. Seniors, sprinkle the eternal matter on the other spiritual herbs. Remember to do it evenly, Wang Ting said. Hu Qi and the other eternal stage martial warrior nodded and did as they were told. They were very cautious as they scattered the eternal matter evenly. Fortunately, it wasn't difficult for eternal stage martial warriors. Wang Ting heaved a sigh of relief when he saw that. Then, he started fusing the various spiritual herbs. Time passed slowly. The anticipated mishaps did not occur, and the final process of pill condensation proceeded surprisingly smoothly. Within the furnace, 4 rounded pills began to take shape. Hu Qi and the lady stared at the furnace nervously. Their palms were covered in sweat. Ever since they advanced to the eternal stage, it had been a long time since they had been so nervous. However, at this moment, they couldn't spare much thought for anything else. Their hearts were focused solely on the yin-yang dragon essence pill. As long as they could succeed, everything else paled in comparison. Boom! After some time, a loud rumbling sound suddenly echoed from within the furnace. A rich medicinal fragrance filled the air as the force reverberated against the walls of the furnace, creating a series of clangorous sounds. Is it going to succeed? Hu Qi and the lady were shocked as they stared at the furnace intently. Open the dome! Boom! As soon as he finished speaking, another loud rumble echoed out. A pillar of light shot into the sky from the furnace, and the 4 pills turned into 4 azure dragons, intertwining and soaring into the sky. Chapter 18:15 Eternal Matter. Abnormal movement in the chaotic star sea. 6. What is this? Dong Yutong and the others outside the alchemy room widened their mouths in disbelief when they saw this scene. What happened? The people waiting outside the alchemy room were flabbergasted too. Boom! Dark clouds gathered, lightning flashed, and a power more terrifying than all previous lightning calamity descended upon this world in an instant. Everyone was startled and puzzled. The lightning calamity appeared again. Roar! 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 The azure dragons formed by the 4 pills unexpectedly roared, as if challenging the authority of the calamity lightning itself. Boom! Countless bolts of lightning converged, forming a massively robust lightning dragon that descended in an instant. Its speed was so swift that even Wang Ting struggled to react in time. F***K. Wang Ting cursed uncontrollably. This calamity lightning was being unfair. It descended without any warning or greeting. It wasn't like this in the future. There was no time to think. He transformed into a ray of light and shot into the sky, colliding fiercely with the lightning. At this moment, Hu Qi and Liang Ren finally realized the situation. They had never experienced a calamity lightning before, so their experience was not as rich as Wang Teng's. Hence, they didn't react in time. Fortunately, Wang Teng was present. Otherwise, these 4 extraordinary pills might have turned into ashes right after being refined. Their expressions turned grim. They used their space skills and quickly appeared in the sky. They glared at the calamity lightning with an intent to intervene at any moment. However, Wang Teng didn't give them the chance. One after another, bolts of lightning descended, and he effortlessly handled them all. The lightning calamity this time was indeed more powerful than the previous one. However, he managed to withstand it forcefully by activating all his physique talents. After the last bolt of lightning was blocked by Wang Teng, the dark clouds gradually dispersed and tranquility returned to the world. The rich aroma of medicinal herbs diffused into the air. Finally, Hu Qi and the others smiled uncontrollably. Even Wang Ting heaved a sigh of relief. 2 successful attempts at refining the yin-yang dragon essence pill. Moreover, this time, they were dealing with eternal matter. Normally, only alchemy saints could make such a pill. However, Wang Ting still succeeded with the help of the 2 eternal stage martial warriors. Wang Ting appeared somewhat disheveled, with burnt marks all over his body. These 10 bolts of lightning were far more terrifying than before, and even his physical body had a hard time enduring it. He was slightly injured. Gasp. It hurts a little. Wang Ting moved his body and grimaced, taking in a sharp breath of cold air. The extreme terror of the lightning calamity was due to the unique nature of the pills they refined this time. These pills were even more extraordinary than the yin-yang dragon essence pill made in the previous attempt. He couldn't help but look at the 4 pills. The beam of light dissipated, but the 4 pills still retained their azure dragon shapes. They seemed to possess some intelligence. Sensing Wang Ting's gaze, they tried to escape into the distance at an astonishing speed. Quick, catch them. Wang Teng's expression changed slightly as he immediately shouted. Don't worry, they won't get away. Hu Qi laughed heartily and vanished, rushing toward the 4 pills. No matter how extraordinary these 4 pills were, they couldn't possibly contend with an eternal stage martial warrior. They were captured in an instant. The azure dragon-shaped pills roared a few times before returning to their pill forms. On the surface of the pills, intricate markings resembling dragon patterns appeared. Hu Qi sized up the 4 pills with a strange gaze. He was in a good mood and wanted to laugh out loud. Roar. However, just at that moment, an immensely terrifying roar suddenly reverberated from the chaotic star sea outside the academy. Shockwaves rippled through all 7 continents of the academy. Chapter 1816 The Terrifying Azure Dragon. The Duel of the Gods. 1. Roar. An earth-shattering roar erupted from within the chaotic star sea. The sea churned violently, and various celestial bodies floating above the sea trembled fiercely. Even the 7 vast continents of the stellar academies trembled slightly. This was unbelievable. The 7 great continents of the 7 stellar academies had existed for countless years. They were extremely stable and this had never happened before. Yet now, they were trembling. The roar spread across all 7 continents, echoing through the sky and lingering for a long time. What's going on? Something strange is happening in the chaotic star sea. Why is this happening? Why is there a sudden change in the chaotic star sea? This shouldn't be the case. The 1000-year beast tide isn't here yet. Why is there such a change? The formidable martial warriors from the 7 stellar academies were all alarmed and instantly appeared at the edges of their respective continents. Their figures were imposing, bathed in radiant light that obscured their features. They appeared like true gods, gazing toward the chaotic star sea. 7th Stellar Academy, Alchemy Volcano. Hu Qi had just caught the 4 pills and was about to feel joyous when he suddenly heard that terrifying roar. His expression abruptly stiffened. What's going on? He looked out of the continent in astonishment. However, he couldn't see anything because he was too far away. He could only sense something amiss. For some reason, an ominous premonition suddenly welled up within him. He glanced at the pills in his hand and felt like it might be related to this. The timing of that roar was just too coincidental. It appeared the instant the pills were made. It seemed to have come for them. No way. Hu Qi was in disbelief. He didn't think that he would be so unlucky. Suppressing the pain in his body, Wang Teng flew over from a distance. His expression was filled with doubt and seriousness. He had the same thoughts as Hu Qi. Could it be such a coincidence? Senior, do you know what happened? Wang Teng asked. How will I know? I'm just as confused right now. Hu Qi shook his head. Either way, let's keep these pills first, Wang Teng said in a low voice. If these pills were the cause, cutting off the source of the medicinal fragrance might help prevent any further complications. Hu Qi nodded and immediately handed the 4 pills to Wang Teng. Wang Teng took out a jade bottle and sealed the 4 pills within it. Dong Yutang and the others walked out of the alchemy room and flew into the sky. They met up with Wang Teng and the others. They only managed to get a quick glance of the pills and didn't get to examine them closely. They felt a little disappointed. It was a pity that they could only give a quick glance at such a precious pill because of an accident. Roar. At this moment, another earth-shattering roar was heard. This time, the sound carried a clear sense of anger and even a hint of urgency. Wang Teng and Hu Qi exchanged a glance, and in each other's eyes, they saw a hint of astonishment. Damn it! In an instant, both of them felt a jolt of unease in their hearts. The roar seemed to confirm their suspicions. Even if they weren't completely certain, they were 60% to 70% confident. But they still found it unbelievable. The alchemy volcano was situated within the 7th Stellar Academy and various rune arrays were guarding the continent. How did the presence within the chaotic star sea discover it? Its nose was even sharper than a dog's. What puzzled Wang Teng, even more, was that, judging by the previous commotion, the beast that emitted the roar must be extremely terrifying. Why would it be interested in a mere Grandmaster-level supreme rank pill? These 4 pills should have reached the legendary spiritualized stage. They are truly extraordinary. Dong Yutang spoke with a deep voice, recalling the scene he had just witnessed. Spiritualized stage. Wang Teng was taken aback. He realized something and a look of astonishment appeared in his eyes. Grandmaster Dong, are you talking about the legendary spiritualized stage? The spiritualization transformation that allows pills to transcend vast levels of realms? It wasn't that he hadn't thought about it, but this type of pill was extremely rare. He hadn't considered this possibility at all and had assumed that the 4 pills they had refined were just somewhat special. Spiritualized pills only existed in legends. Their appearance was extremely rare, and Wang Teng never imagined he would be able to refine them. The Yin-Yang Dragon Essence pill was already a peerless Grandmaster-level pill. If it reached the spiritualized stage and underwent a transformation, it would be on par with a divine-level pill. That's right, that's the spiritualized pill. An aged voice suddenly came from a distance. Wang Ting turned his head abruptly and saw a white-haired elder walking over from the sky. His pupils constricted. This old man isn't simple. Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan. Dong Yutang and the others immediately recognized the person and shouted, "Alchemy Saint!" Wang Ting's expression changed slightly. He was appalled. This elder was an alchemy saint. The old man arrived in the air, standing with hands behind his back. He nodded at Dong Yutang and the others before strolling up to Wang Teng. He looked at the jade bottle in Wang Teng's hand and smiled, saying, "Young friend, could you show me this pill?" Of course. Wang Teng nodded. Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan smiled. He didn't open the jade bottle and just glanced at it. Then, he nodded and said, "I was right." Alchemy Saint Dong Yutang and the others greeted him respectfully. No need to be so polite. Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan waved his hand and continued, "If it's a spiritualized pill, it might be the cause of this huge commotion. Also, your pill has a different attraction to them." Chapter 1817 The Terrifying Azure Dragon. The Duel of the Gods. 2. His tone seemed to carry a sense of nostalgia and even a bit of peculiarity. "Do you also think this pill is the cause of the disturbance?" Wang Teng asked. "Well, no, once we take a look," Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan said. "There's no need to panic. There are countless formidable warriors in the 7 stellar academies. The presence within the chaotic star sea won't gain any advantages." Wang Teng and his teammates nodded. Indeed. It was useless to stay here and make guesses. He might as well take a look. They felt relieved after hearing what Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan said. There was no doubt about how powerful the 7 stellar academies were. Since he said that he was fine, nothing serious would happen. "Take my spacecraft." Hu Qi took out his spacecraft and invited everyone to board it. Then, he flew towards the edge of the continent. His expression was gloomy. Why did something unexpected happen when he was making a pill? How could he feel at ease? The joyful mood he had just moments ago vanished in an instant. He was determined to find out what exactly was trying to covet his yin-yang dragon essence pill. Being an eternal stage martial warrior, Hu Qi wasn't someone to be trifled with. Outside the alchemy volcano, others were left baffled, unaware of what was happening. What's going on? Why did he leave? Something big is about to happen. That was an alchemy saint. I heard the grandmasters calling him Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan. It's Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan. Hes here too. It looks like things aren't simple. Quick, let's go and take a look. Amid the discussions, everyone noticed something amiss and promptly boarded their spacecraft. They all headed towards the edges of the continent. At the same time, all the students from the 7 stellar academies were alerted and gathered at the edge of the continent. Everyone sat in the main hall on the spacecraft. Dong Yutang introduced Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan to Wang Teng in detail. Without a doubt, Dao Yuan was a legendary divine-level alchemist. He held an important position in the 7 stellar academies. Every alchemy saint was rare and precious. They were scarce even in the 7 stellar academies. This alchemy saint happened to be unoccupied when Wang Teng made the yin-yang dragon essence pill, so he came. Otherwise, he might not have shown up. I'm just an old man, but Wang Teng's proficiency in alchemy is remarkable. You managed to refine a supreme rank pill to the spiritualized stage. That's the same as a divine-level pill. Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan chuckled as he praised Wang Teng. You flatter me. I'm just a small alchemist. I made the yin-yang dragon essence pill blindly. I didn't expect it to reach this stage, Wang Teng said humbly. Hu Qi glanced at Wang Teng. Then, he exchanged glances with the female eternal stage martial warrior and saw a strange look in each other's eyes. If they hadn't witnessed Wang Teng's alchemical process with their own eyes, they might have believed it. But, having witnessed Wang Teng's alchemical techniques, which were like art, they had reason to believe he was simply bluffing. He had seen through Wang Teng. This junior brother wasn't humble at all. He knew nothing about modesty. Dong Yutang and the others were speechless too. If an alchemist who made the yin-yang dragon essence pill was a small alchemist, what would that make them? A small alchemist among small alchemists? Ha ha ha, young friend, you're interesting. Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan laughed heartily. He was remarkably polite to Wang Teng, addressing him as young friend. Dong Yutang and the others noticed this too. They were astounded. It looked like even the alchemy saint acknowledged Wang Teng's alchemy mastery. Hu Qi's spacecraft was an eternal-level spacecraft. It was extremely fast, so it didn't take long for them to arrive at the edge of the 7th Stellar Academy's continent. Everyone alighted from the spacecraft. Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan. Isn't that alchemy Saint Dao Yuan? Hes here too. The instant alchemy Saint Dao Yuan appeared, he attracted many people's attention. Everyone was shocked. Hey, isn't that Wang Ting beside alchemy Saint Dao Yuan? Wang Ting? Which Wang Ting? Who else? Wang Ting, the one who got onto the star rankings. It's said that he's a Grandmaster alchemist too. Really? He's a Grandmaster alchemist? How old is he? You must be ignorant. Many people witnessed him making pills. Also, didn't you see him standing beside alchemy Saint Dao Yuan? Can an ordinary person stand beside the alchemy saint? That's right. Even if Hes got on the star rankings, Hes just a freshman. He doesn't have the right to stand beside the alchemy saint. There's a bunch of people trying to pull Wang Ting to their side. Hes very popular. Oh my god, seriously? Is he really a freshman? How can you treat him as a freshman? His identity isn't simple. How did he cultivate? Making it onto the star rankings is already impressive, but Hes also a Grandmaster alchemist. He must be a monster. When the people saw alchemy Saint Dao Yuan, they also saw Wang Ting. The discussions grew louder. Wang Ting was quite famous now, and even those who didn't recognize him had others telling them who he was, afraid that they wouldn't know who this celebrity was. However, their attention was only brief, and their gazes quickly returned to the chaotic star sea. As Wang Ting and the others were making their way here, a vast expanse of dark clouds had gathered over the chaotic star sea. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled, creating a scene reminiscent of a heavenly calamity. Chapter 1818 The Terrifying Azure Dragon, The Duel of the Gods. 3. At least when Wang Ting saw this scene, he couldn't help but feel his heart trembling. He turned to glance at alchemy Saint Dao Yuan, who was beside him. Sir, are you sure this is all right? The scene before them was like the apocalypse itself, a pitch-black expanse that seemed to have no end. Thick and mighty lightning bolts flashed within the dark clouds, resembling thunderous dragons with unparalleled might. Roar! Roar! Roars echoed from within the chaotic star sea. It was drawing closer to the 7 Stellar Academy's continents. The chaotic star sea churned like ocean waves. It appeared that a dreadful presence was about to emerge beneath. Countless streams of chaotic energy surged, reaching high into the sky. It was an awe-inspiring sight. Scary. Wang Ting's expression slightly stiffened. Even Hu Qi, an eternal stage martial warrior, could feel the pressure and his expression turned extremely serious. Come, follow me. Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan said to Wang Ting when he saw the eternal stage martial warriors in the distance. Me? Follow you? Wang Ting was surprised. This is most likely caused by you. If you don't go, who will? Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan laughed. Wang Ting's expression turned bitter. He felt wronged. He was just refining a pill. He never expected such a thing to happen. This felt like a prank. Wang Ting had no choice but to follow alchemy Saint Dao Yuan. They flew towards the eternal stage martial warriors. Dong Yutang, Hu Qi, and the others followed him too. Wang Ting was astounded when he saw this bunch of eternal stage martial warriors. The Academy's foundation was incredibly strong. There were at least 20 to 30 eternal stage martial warriors among them. Most importantly, the eternal stage martial warriors felt even stronger than Bai Shanhu. Bai Shanhu was an eternal stage marquis. His ability exceeded that of an ordinary eternal stage marquis. These eternal stage martial warriors were stronger than Bai Shanhu. This meant that they were either eternal stage dukes or eternal stage rulers. Are you surprised? Hu Qi smiled and asked. Yes. Wang Ting nodded. This is just a small portion of eternal stage martial warriors in our academy, Hu Qi smiled and mysteriously remarked. A small portion? Wang Ting was shocked. Was this exaggeration necessary? There were many powerful martial warriors, yet they were just a small portion. He noticed that Hu Qi said a small portion rather than a portion, implying that the stellar academies had even more eternal stage martial warriors hidden behind the scene. Perhaps these eternal stage martial would only appear when the situation became extremely dire. Look over there, Hu Qi motioned for Wang Ting to look upward. Those are. Wang Ting's eyes widened slightly as he followed Hu Qi's gaze, and his pupils contracted suddenly. In the sky above, several figures as grand as deities stood in the air, radiating a profoundly awe-inspiring presence. They were just standing there, but they seemed to be in another part of space. Many people couldn't notice them. Even Wang Ting didn't notice their presence. God stage. They must be God stage martial warriors. Wang Ting was dumbstruck. He knew that they must be above the eternal stage. Above the eternal stage was the God stage. That was an existence that had truly transcended everything, holding up the divine kingdom and being gods themselves. Do you understand now? Hu Qi chuckled when he saw his expression. He enjoyed looking at Wang Ting's expression. This junior loved to boast. If he wasn't taught a lesson, he wouldn't realize that there was always someone better than him. Wang Ting didn't know what to say anymore. Indeed, the academy had such existences and there was more than one. Before he could think further, Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan had already brought him in front of the eternal stage martial warriors. Dao Yuan, why are you here? An eternal stage martial warrior asked in surprise. I was unoccupied so I came to take a look, Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan said with a smile. Furthermore, I speculate that this matter might be related to the pill refined by this young friend Wang Ting. That's why I brought him here. It will be great if we can resolve this matter without shedding blood. Wang Ting. A few eternal stage martial warriors recognized Wang Ting. They were Sikong II, Shu Chu, and Gang Zhizhen. Lately, Wang Ting had been anything but quiet within the academy, and even eternal stage martial warriors like them heard some rumors. Thus, when they saw Wang Ting, their expressions turned strange. Wang Ting, what pill did you make? Sikong II was surprised and asked curiously. The other eternal stage martial warriors regained their senses upon hearing his question. The most important thing now was to understand what was going on. Wang Ting felt a little nervous under the gazes of so many eternal stage martial warriors, especially when they looked as if they wanted to dissect him. It was quite unsettling. He didn't dare to waste any time and took out the Yin-Yang Dragon Essence pill. It's this Yin-Yang Dragon Essence pill. Yin-Yang Dragon Essence pill? What pill is this? Sikong II frowned and asked, Dao Yuan, are you sure that these pills are enough to cause such a huge commotion? The other eternal stage martial warriors also found it a bit absurd. If Dao Yuan, the alchemy saint, didn't say it, they would have dismissed it outright. I knew you would underestimate these few pills. Dao Yuan smiled calmly. You might not know this, but these Yin-Yang Dragon Essence pills are Grandmaster level supreme rank pills. Chapter 1819 The Terrifying Azure Dragon. The Duel of the Gods. 4. Before he could finish speaking, he was interrupted. Grandmaster level supreme rank pill. The eternal stage martial warriors looked at Wang Ting in surprise. They didn't expect this young man to be able to make a supreme rank pill. But, even if it's a supreme rank pill, it shouldn't be able to cause such a commotion. Sikong II frowned. Wang Ting was someone he had brought to the academy and he had high hopes for him. He didn't want Wang Ting to be blamed inexplicably. Don't worry, let me finish speaking first. These pills refined by young friend Wang Ting have reached the spiritualized stage. They are not ordinary supreme rank pills anymore. They can rival divine level pills, Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan said. The spiritualized stage. Rival a divine level pill. The eternal stage martial warriors were astounded. They were individuals of experience so they knew what reaching the spiritualized stage meant. Besides, Dao Yuan made it quite clear. These pills were on par with divine level pills. Moreover, the effect of these pills is to enhance the innate talents of the descendants. After taking the pills, the offspring have a high probability of inheriting the talents of both parents, Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan added. I see. If that's the case, no wonder it caused such a commotion. The eternal stage martial warriors were enlightened. Wang Ting seemed to understand what happened too. Just like powerful martial warriors, it was extremely challenging for powerful star beasts to bear offspring. Sometimes, they need to invest thousands or even tens of thousands of years in preparation and nurturing to conceive offspring. This gestation period was much longer than that of martial warriors. And this wasn't even the primary challenge. The main issue lay in the fact that even after undergoing such a strenuous process, there was no guarantee that they would be able to produce an ideal offspring. Due to these difficulties, many star beasts seek out treasures that could aid them in the process of conceiving offspring before attempting to do so. These treasures are exceedingly rare and hard to come by. For instance, ice element star beasts might need to locate specific ice-related treasures to create the best environment for nurturing their offspring. This environment would allow them to fully stimulate the innate talents hidden within their bloodlines. The same applies to star beasts of other elemental attribute. Wang Teng's yin-yang dragon essence pill was as remarkable as those treasures. In fact, it was even more useful. Firstly, the effects of the pill were milder so it wouldn't affect the fetus development. Secondly, this pill was made using the eternal matter in the star core of a Titan-level star beast. Hence, its effect was unpredictable and unquestionably would provide immeasurable benefits for nurturing offspring. Thus, upon its appearance, it caught the attention of an entity within the chaotic star sea. However, to be certain, we could also open the jade bottle and lure out the entity below. Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan chuckled. That's a good idea. Once the pill appears, if the other side shows up as well, it's a sure sign that they are after this pill. Sikong II nodded. Let's do that. The other eternal stage martial warriors had no objections. Don't. This pill is ours. If the entity below is after the pill, should we just hand it over? Hu Qi and his wife were agitated. This pill was the result of their painstaking efforts to gather materials and the fortunate encounter with Wang Teng. Moreover, it held great significance for them. How could they let others benefit from it so easily? When it concerned the future of their descendants, they were determined to do whatever it took. Don't worry. There are 4 pills, right? You only need 2. Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan consoled them. And according to the rules, any extra pills belong to the alchemist. That's true. Hu Qi looked at the 4 pills in the jade bottle and realized this fact. They were too worried and almost forgot that Wang Ting made 4 pills. It was more than enough for them. I have to admit that young friend Wang Ting's alchemy mastery is truly exceptional. You managed to make 4 spiritualized pills. Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan glanced at Wang Ting and exclaimed. I was just lucky. Wang Ting smiled. This isn't something that can be achieved solely through luck. Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan shook his head and said. The eternal stage martial warriors looked at Wang Ting in a different light. Even the alchemy saint, Dao Yuan, held such high regard for Wang Ting, which indicated that his alchemical achievements were indeed astonishing. In that case, we will let Grandmaster Wang Ting decide what to do with the 2 pills. You must leave the other 2 for us, Hu Qi said. Don't worry, it will be yours. Also, the Academy will compensate you for your losses, Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan said in a meaningful tone. Hu Qi and his wife were stunned when they heard this. Then, they were elated. If they could receive compensation from the Academy, that would be even better. This was a pleasant surprise. They understood that it was Wang Ting who had brought this opportunity to them, and their gratitude towards him grew even stronger. This junior brother was their lucky star. Wang Teng, open the jade bottle, Sikong II said. Wang Teng nodded. He opened the jade bottle and a rich aroma of pills wafted out. The eternal stage martial warriors looked into the chaotic star sea. Roar. A terrifying roar suddenly echoed, seeming to carry a hint of excitement. Ha ha ha, as expected. The eternal stage martial warriors burst out laughing. Chapter 1820 The Terrifying Azure Dragon. The Duel of the Gods. 5. They felt at ease after realizing that the commotion was caused by the pills. Now, they had the initiative. They wouldn't need to fight, and might even be able to gain some benefits from the other side. Even if it came to a confrontation, they weren't afraid. The reputation of the 7 stellar academies wasn't just for show. Boom. At this moment, a violent roar erupted from within the chaotic star sea. Endless chaotic energy surged into the void, resembling a column of water connecting the void's dark clouds. Wang Ting hurriedly looked in front. He saw a terrifying black shadow in the water pillar formed by the energy flux. However, the figure vanished in an instant. Instead, the dark clouds in the air began to churn, accompanied by thunderous roars. Following that, a massive head slowly emerged. A pair of majestic giant eyes fixed their gaze upon Wang Ting and the others. Azure Dragon. Wang Ting was astounded. He almost shouted. This was a real Azure Dragon star beast. Judging by its size alone, it was undoubtedly a universe behemoth. The sheer enormity of its head left people awestruck. Of course, the scariest thing was its stage. The pressure it exuded was akin to the might of the heavens themselves. It was definitely above the Titan level. "It's you." A calm voice was suddenly heard in the air. The voice wasn't loud, but it resonated clearly in everyone's ears. It was shocking. The God Stage martial warrior has spoken, Wang Ting thought to himself. Only God Stage martial warriors had the right to interact with such a presence. "Give me the pill and I'll leave immediately." The Azure Dragon opened its mouth and its voice echoed in the sky. It came for a pill. The students around them finally understood the origin of this commotion. They were stunned and amazed. "What can you give us in return?" The God Stage martial warrior asked calmly. "I can guarantee 30,000 years of peace for the 7 stellar academies." The Azure Dragon's gaze turned sharp. "Not enough," the God Stage martial warrior said. "What do you want?" The Azure Dragon's voice was emotionless. 100,000 years. The God Stage martial warrior replied calmly. "Impossible." A hint of anger appeared in Azure Dragon's calm voice. It stared at the God Stage martial warrior with his dragon eyes. "In that case, there's no need to discuss further. If you want to fight, well, fight with you," the God Stage martial warrior smiled and replied. In the next moment, with a casual wave of his hand, a powerful sword radiance streaked through the sky and sliced into the dark clouds. The gleaming sword light illuminated the entire sky. Only the astonishing sword remained in everyone's eyes, leaving them dazed and unable to recover for a long time. Even Wang Ting was shocked. The brilliance of the sword reflected in his eyes and left him bewildered. He hadn't expected the God Stage martial warriors to act so quickly. Their attitude was truly unyielding. The Azure Dragon's pupils constricted. It opened its massive jaws and spewed forth a golden light, meeting the terrifying sword radiance head-on. Boom! In an instant, the two attacks collided, producing a terrifying explosion. Force surged, and the flux in the chaotic star sea turned violent. It was like a tsunami. Numerous massive star beast silhouettes emerged from within the chaotic star sea. They were directly killed by the residual impact of the two attacks. Blood and flesh scattered, staining a large area red. Wang Ting looked down at the chaotic star sea in astonishment. There were so many of them. Countless star beasts were present within the chaotic star sea. He could see an overwhelming number of them with just a glance. At the same time, the dark clouds in the sky split into two. The lightning temporarily subsided and the Azure Dragon's huge body was forced back. "You." The Azure Dragon was shocked and furious. Amazing. Impressive. Wang Ting was filled with respect. The formidable warriors in the stellar academies were indeed incredible. They didn't show any fear even when facing this terrifying Azure Dragon and chose to fight with it head-on. How unyielding. The Azure Dragon was infuriated. He glared at the real god-level martial warrior from the stellar academies with a trace of dread in its eyes. For a moment, the atmosphere froze. Many individuals grew tense, feeling that a battle could break out at any moment. However, Wang Ting felt that a battle was unlikely. Their side was powerful, so they had no reason to fear. On the other side, the Azure Dragon seemed to be the only God Stage presence on the other side. It was improbable for them to engage in a fight. As expected, the Azure Dragon remained silent for some time before speaking again. 50,000 years, no more. I can't make the decision alone. 80,000 years. The God Stage martial warrior replied. 60,000 years. Azure Dragon suppressed its anger and replied. Deal. The God-stage martial warrior said. The Azure Dragon. Fart. Wang Ting burst out laughing. This Azure Dragon was scary, but it didn't appear very smart. The Azure Dragon lowered its head slowly and looked at Wang Ting. Its expression seemed somewhat embarrassed. Ahem. Wang Ting noticed the stare and immediately cleared his throat. His expression returned to normal as if he hadn't been laughing just now. Young man, give it the pill. The voice of a God-stage martial warrior sounded beside Wang Ting's ear. Yes. Wang Ting nodded, respectfully acknowledging. He couldn't refuse this request, and Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan already mentioned that the academy would compensate them. His contribution to this matter was quite substantial. He believed the Stellar Academy wouldn't let him go unrewarded. Wang Ting took out 2 yin-yang dragon essence pills and placed them in another jade bottle. Then, he wrapped them with his spiritual power and sent them towards the Azure Dragon. The jade bottle only flew halfway before Wang Ting's spiritual power got detached. The jade bottle was swept towards the Azure Dragon by another force. Farewell. A hint of barely noticeable delight flashed in the Azure Dragon's eyes. Its massive body flickered within the dark clouds and vanished from everyone's sight. Boom. The chaotic star sea below churned violently. The Azure Dragon had entered the chaotic star sea and disappeared. This terrifying presence came and left in a hurry. However, it left a deep impression on many students. For many students, encountering a true God-stage martial warrior was extremely rare. Some had never seen one before. But today, they saw more than one God-stage martial warrior, and an Azure Dragon that was as powerful as a God-stage martial warrior. It was truly an eye-opening experience. Even though the Azure Dragon had left, many were still fervently discussing the event, displaying great excitement. Meanwhile, as the origin of this commotion, Wang Ting had also left a deep impression on many. The fact that Wang Ting's pills could attract such a terrifying presence was truly beyond imagination. His prowess in alchemy was astonishing. Wang Ting didn't care about this. He stared at the space in front with a burning gaze. He was elated. More than 10 attribute bubbles were floating at the spot where the Azure Dragon Star Beast appeared. Chapter 18:21-2 Divine Level Battle Techniques. The Solar Dragon Race came again. 1. The attribute bubbles dropped by a God-stage martial warrior. When Wang Ting saw the attribute bubbles, he immediately released his spiritual power and picked them up without any hesitation. The God-stage martial warriors had departed, so there wouldn't be any significant consequences even if he used his spiritual power now. Metal Constellation Force * 55,000 Origin of Metal * 3500 Eternal Matter * 100 Dragon God Raw * 1200 Wind Constellation Force * 58,000 Origin of Wind * 4000 Eternal Matter * 1. 20 Wind God Sword Art, First Stance, Gale Slaughter * 1600. As the attribute bubbles merged into Wang Ting's body and mind, he couldn't help but tremble all over. His eyes were bursting with a light of delight. The attribute bubbles dropped by a God-stage martial warrior were truly remarkable. Firstly, there were tens of thousands of constellation forces. 55,000 points of constellation metal force allowed Wang Ting's constellation metal force to rise from the first level cosmos stage to the fourth level. Constellation metal force, 5,000 40,000, cosmos stage fourth level. There were 58,000 points of the constellation wind force too, slightly more than the constellation metal force. This allowed Wang Ting's constellation wind force to rise from the first level cosmos stage to the fourth level. Constellation wind force, 8,000 40,000, cosmos stage fourth level, both his forces had reached the fourth level. This was a huge gain, especially considering that one of the forces was the wind force. Normally, increasing this force was challenging, as expected of a God-stage martial warrior. With just one move, he dropped so many force attributes. That attack just now isn't something an ordinary martial artist could withstand. I'm afraid even eternal stage martial warriors would be taken out in an instant. Wang Ting thought to himself in astonishment. This was beyond imagination. He then turned his gaze to the other attribute bubbles. There were 3,500 points of origin of metal. Although it wasn't enough to raise Wang Teng's origin of metal by a level, it was still a huge increase. However, Wang Teng was pleasantly surprised by another power of origin. There were 4,000 points of origin of wind, which was slightly more than the origin of metal. Wang Teng's origin of wind was still at the first rank, but it jumped from 3,600 to 7,600. It was only 2,400 points away from the second rank. Origin of wind, 7,600 10,000, first rank. It won't be long before the origin of wind reaches the second rank. Wang Teng thought to himself. He was overjoyed. He continued looking down. Behind the power of origin attribute was the eternal matter attribute. Since eternal stage martial warriors were able to control eternal matter, it went without saying that God stage martial warriors could do it too. Wang Teng suspected that they possessed even more eternal matter. However, he didn't expect their attacks to contain eternal matter. If not, he wouldn't have dropped the attribute bubble. Upon closer consideration, it seemed reasonable. Eternal stage martial warriors could only be killed after destroying the eternal matter they possessed. Thus, there must be eternal matter in their attacks. Only eternal matter could destroy eternal matter. Wang Teng gained 220 points of eternal matter. This was much more than the eternal matter dropped by the star cores of the two Titan-level star beasts. The two Titan-level star cores dropped some attribute bubbles during the refining process, but in total, there were only 60 points of it. However, this time, he gained 220 points, exceeding the previous total by a full 160 points. Eternal matter, 280 10,000, first rank. Wang Teng's eternal matter attribute rose but a huge margin even though there were only 280 points. However, he was only a Cosmos stage martial warrior. It was already a surprise that he was able to possess eternal matter. The God stage martial warriors probably didn't expect Wang Teng to possess eternal matter. As the 220 points of eternal matter merged into Wang Teng's body, he immediately sensed waves of comfort rippling through his soul, as if some kind of transformation had occurred. Unfortunately, with his current level of cultivation, he couldn't fully comprehend this change. This sensation is somewhat similar to the feeling of my soul origin increasing. Wang Teng wondered to himself. Then, he shook his head. These two weren't the same. Wang Teng looked at the last two attribute bubbles. These were two battle techniques. Divine-level battle techniques. Descriptions of the two martial techniques appeared in his mind. Wang Teng's eyes lit up. He felt a surge of excitement. After the League of Talents, Wang Teng finally received another divine-level battle technique. And there were two of them. Among them, the Dragon God roar clearly originated from that terrifying dragon. Wang Teng vividly remembered the tremendous roar it released when it resisted the God stage warrior from the academy. That move was extremely powerful. Although it was eventually forced back, it wasn't due to its lack of strength. It was because the Academy's God stage martial warrior was too powerful. The execution method of the Dragon God roar appeared in his mind. His eyes sparkled as he quickly gained insights. Despite being named roar, the Dragon God roar was not a sound attack. It was a genuine force attack. This was the Dragon God roar launched by the terrifying Azure Dragon. Its power was astonishing. The other martial technique was called the Wind God Sword Art, a divine-level sword technique. It was also very powerful. The peerless sword attack released by the God stage martial warrior was a glimpse into the might of the Wind God Sword Art. Wang Teng was elated that he finally had a proper battle technique for his wind element. It wasn't easy. Wind element scriptures and battle techniques were rare, especially powerful ones. They were often considered treasures that were hard to come by. Wang Teng was lucky this time. The God stage martial warrior casually executed an attack to deter the Azure Dragon, allowing Wang Teng to reap a huge benefit. Chapter 18:22 2 Divine-level battle techniques. The Solar Dragon race came again. 2. Wind God Sword Art. Since it was named with the word God, it must be extraordinary. However, There was only one stance for now. It was called the Gale Slaughter. The instructions and insights related to the cultivation of the Gale Slaughter appeared in Wang Ting's mind. He was enlightened and immediately entered the foundation stage. Dragon God Roar, 1210,000, Foundation, Wind God Sword Art, First Stance, Gale Slaughter 1610,000, Foundation, Divine Level Battle Techniques require 10,000 attribute points to advance to the next stage. Wang Ting shook his head helplessly. These divine level techniques were undeniably powerful, but the difficulty of improving them was quite high too. He couldn't just follow behind the two God Stage martial warriors and wait for them to drop attribute bubbles. Well, he didn't even know if he could find them. Even if he could get close to a God Stage martial warrior, if Wang Ting dared to do this, he would probably get slapped to death by one of them. I guess I can only use my blank attributes, Wang Ting thought to himself. Fortunately, he had saved a large number of blank attributes earlier, thinking they might be useful when he created his technique. Little did he know that he would create a technique based on the insights he gained from the chaotic Uncharted, which was quite a pleasant surprise. Hence, he managed to save the blank attributes. After picking up the attribute bubbles left by the two God Stage martial warriors, Wang Ting looked at the chaotic star sea again. The previous clash between the two God Stage presences caused a huge force impact that killed quite a number of star beasts within the chaotic star sea. Naturally, there were attribute bubbles. As expected, after sensing his surroundings carefully, he realized that there were many attribute bubbles beneath the chaotic currents of the chaotic star sea. They just hadn't surfaced, which was why he hadn't noticed them before. It's a good thing I thought of this. Wang Ting immediately released his spiritual power into the chaotic star sea. He picked up the attribute bubbles. Constellation Force, Water, *800 Wood Constellation Force *1200 Blank Attribute *1200 Metal Constellation Force *1000 Constellation Force, Fire, *700 Blank Attribute *1800 So many attribute bubbles. Wang Ting felt extremely lucky today. He picked up numerous attribute bubbles from the chaotic star sea. Although the value of each attribute bubble wasn't a lot, when accumulated, they amounted to a significant sum. There was also a variety of attributes present. In just a short moment, all of Wang Teng's forces received a tremendous boost. Constellation Metal Force, 1350 40,000, Cosmos Stage 4th level, Constellation Wood Force, 3220,000, Cosmos Stage 2nd level, Constellation Water Force, 2820,000, Cosmos Stage 2nd level, Constellation Fire Force, 2120,000, Cosmos Stage 2nd level, Constellation Earth Force, 2520,000, Cosmos Stage 2nd level, Constellation Wind Force, 1280 40,000, Cosmos Stage 4th level, Constellation Lightning Force, 5630,000, Cosmos Stage 3rd level, Constellation Ice Force, 6310,000. Cosmos Stage 1st level, Constellation Poison Force, 5110,000, Cosmos Stage 1st level. Among them, the 5 basic elements underwent a substantial chance, with some achieving a breakthrough. Apart from Metal Force, which recently advanced to the 4th level, all his other forces had reached the 2nd level of the Cosmos Stage. The other 4 special forces rose too, even though they didn't reach the point of breakthrough. In addition to this, Wang Teng acquired a considerable amount of blank attributes. He received 135,300 points of them. Wang Teng looked at his attributes board. Blank attribute, 402, 8500 I have more than 4 million blank attribute. Wang Teng was elated. He suddenly felt a sense of satisfaction. It wasn't easy to collect this many blank attributes. Wang Teng had never been so well off before. Although the description of events sounded lengthy, in reality, it all happened in just a short period. After collecting the attribute bubbles, Wang Teng heard Hu Qi speaking to him. Grandmaster Wang Ting, since this matter has ended, we should take our leave. All right. Wang Ting turned and nodded at Hu Qi and his wife. He smiled and said, in that case, I'll congratulate you in advance on the impending arrival of your child. Ha ha ha, Hu Qi laughed heartily, thank you for your well wishes. Oh right, This is the yin-yang dragon essence pill made from the star core of an ultimate stage imperial level star beast. It's of no use to us now, so we'll give it to you. He took out the 3 yin-yang dragon essence pills and passed them to Wang Teng. Wang Teng nodded and accepted them without refusal. At his current level, Wang Teng probably wouldn't need these items. He would only need them at the eternal stage or even higher. By then, he could certainly refine even better yin-yang dragon essence pill for himself. However, after witnessing the attraction of this pill to star beasts, Wang Teng felt that it might come in handy someday. So, he decided to keep them for now. Let's exchange contact information. If you have any issues in the future, feel free to reach out to us. Hu Qi opened his wristwatch and exchanged contact information with Wang Teng. You're too polite. Although Wang Teng said this, he still chose to exchange contacts with them. Hu Qi admired his straightforward manner. He laughed and didn't mind at all. Senior, why did you transfer 100,000 points to me? Wang Teng was stunned. That's a token of appreciation for your assistance. You made 2 batches of pills for us consecutively. How can we not show our gratitude? Hu Qi said. You're too polite. Wang Teng said hurriedly, but he was actually quite delighted. 100,000 points. Even when he broke 2 records in a row, he didn't earn this many points. Making pills for these 2 eternal stage martial warriors was indeed worth his time and effort. Chapter 18:23 Divine Level Battle Techniques. The Solar Dragon Race came again. 3. You deserve it. We also benefited from you. Hu Qi smiled and said using voice transmission, those 2 pills gave the Stellar Academy's 60,000 years of peace. The Academy will reward us. Without you, we wouldn't have had this opportunity. Then, he patted Wang Teng's shoulder and said mysteriously, go back and wait for the good news. Let's go. Hu Qi waved his hand and boarded the spacecraft with the female Eternal Stage martial warrior. Wang Teng watched their departing figures with shimmering eyes. He was lost in thought. Grandmaster Wang Ting, we're going back too. Make sure to come to the alchemy volcano to find us when you have the time. Dong Yutong walked over and said. All right, I will come when I have the time. Wang Teng smiled and nodded. Dong Yutong and the others left too. They wanted to take another look at the yin-yang dragon essence pill that had reached the spiritualized stage, but it had already been taken away by Hu Qi. After everyone departed, only Wang Teng was left. He glanced around him but didn't spot any familiar figures. Without further ado, he took out his spacecraft, boarded it, and left. After some time, the spacecraft landed in the Cosmos Zone residential area. Wang Teng was preparing to go back to his manor when he saw a few figures standing at the entrance. Yu Chichiao, Wade, Borit. Why are you all here? Wang Teng looked at them in surprise. What do you think? With such a commotion, could we not come to take a look? Yu Chichiao rolled her eyes. It's just an accident. Wang Teng coughed awkwardly. So, what's going on? Yu Chichiao asked curiously. When the terrifying azure dragon appeared, its imposing pressure resonated throughout the chaotic star sea. Only some heaven stage and above martial warriors could approach. New students like Yu Chichiao could only watch from afar. Hence, they didn't know what happened. They only knew that it was caused by a pill concocted by Wang Teng. Regardless, it was undeniable that the commotion was caused by Wang Teng. Wang Teng felt his head hurting when he saw their expressions. He walked towards his manor while explaining what happened briefly. Yu Chichiao and the others wouldn't let him go so easily. They caught up and bombarded him with questions until they finally grasped the whole situation. You're really the epitome of unexpectedness. You even cause trouble when refining a pill, Yu Chichiao said speechlessly. Well, what can I do? Wang Teng sighed in resignation. Speaking of it, are God Stage martial warriors scary? Yu Chichiao ignored his complaint and diverted the topic. Of course, they are incredibly terrifying. Wang Teng replied. A God Stage martial warrior can easily crush someone like you with just a flick of their finger. Yu Chichiao was speechless. She said, what do you mean by someone like me? Can you stop using me as a comparison? Oh, I just wanted you to understand it better, Wang Teng chuckled. He wore an expression that said, I'm doing this for your good. Well, I truly appreciate it, Yu Qi retorted sarcastically. Boss, you're going to be famous again this time. Everyone on the internal web is discussing your accomplishments in alchemy, Wade laughed. Let them discuss. Wang Teng sighed and waved his hand. He seemed to have accepted his fate. They said that you must have reached the peak of the Grandmaster level. Is that true? Wade asked curiously. No. Wang Teng walked to the entrance of the manor and asked Round Ball to open the door. He walked into the hall and added, I've only reached the 9th Grandmaster level. Wade heaved a sigh of relief. Come on, his boss was so young. No matter how much of a prodigy he was, he couldn't possibly reach the peak of the Grandmaster level so easily. However, upon hearing Wang Ting's last statement, the expression on his face stiffened. Haha, boss, you love to joke. Wade laughed awkwardly. Yu Qiqiao chuckled secretly. This fatty didn't understand Wang Ting well enough. If not, he wouldn't have asked this question. From the beginning, she firmly believed that Wang Ting's alchemical attainments were not lower than the 9th Grandmaster level. Otherwise, how could he attract the attention of a god-stage existence? Wang Ting led the group into the hall and inquired, How's everything with the Constellation Society recently? When you weren't around, everything was on track. Your reputation has been spreading far and wide, and things have been much smoother than we anticipated. Many new students from the Great Chen Empire are willing to join us. Yu Qiqiao suddenly got excited when she talked about this. It seems things are going more smoothly than I thought. Wang Teng said in surprise. You've got it easy. You just need to delegate the work, Yu Qi remarked. Not bad. Besides, I didn't do nothing. I've been refining pills for days and nights for the sake of the Constellation Society, Wang Teng joked in a serious tone. You always have an excuse for everything, Yu Qi said with exasperation. Alright, let's not waste any time. Since the development of the Constellation Association is on track, we should be able to sell our pills. Wang Ting waved his hand and a pile of jade bottles appeared on the table. I've made these pills over the past few days. Organize a group of trustworthy individuals and start selling them under the name of the Constellation Society. This is a lot. Yu Qiqiao was shocked when she saw the pills on the table. So many. Wade's eyes lit up too. Chapter 18:24-2 Divine Level Battle Techniques. The Solar Dragon race came again. For how many points could they sell these pills for? They were going to get rich. You made all these in the past few days? Yu Qiqiao asked in disbelief. This efficiency was amazing. If she claimed that these pills were made over 2 or 3 months, there would be people who would believe it. There were too many of them. At a glance, it was evident that there were quite a few Grandmaster level pills among them. They emitted a shimmering radiance that set them apart from the others. Could one person refine all of these in just a few days? What did you think? Do you believe it now? I haven't been lazing around. I've been working very hard, Wang Teng said, tilting his head. I believe you. Yu Qiqiao nodded fervently. As expected of the president of the Constellation Society. You're indeed dedicated to our cause. I was wrong, very wrong. Please forgive me, President. Well said. Please continue, Wang Teng nodded, showing that he was quite enjoying the praise. Yu Qiqiao glanced at him speechlessly. She swept the table with her hand and kept all the pills. Then, she smiled mischievously and said, President, enjoy yourself. I, your unfortunate subordinate, will do the rest of the work for you. The moment she finished speaking, she disappeared from the hall, leaving only a fragrant breeze behind. Boss, I'm going to help Sister Yu. I will take my leave. Wade noticed that the situation wasn't right, so he took the chance to escape. In the end, only Wang Ting and Borit remained in the hall, staring at each other awkwardly. I'm going back to cultivate as well, Borit scratched his crown and said naively. Go ahead. Wang Ting waved his hand tiredly. These subordinates only remember that he was the president when they needed him. When there was nothing, they were all in a hurry to escape. The world was cruel. After sending everyone away, Wang Teng walked up the stairs and went into the bathroom to take a refreshing shower. Refining pills these past few days had indeed been a bit exhausting. He felt rather moldy. After the shower, he headed to the cultivation chamber and found Cao Jiaojiao deeply immersed in her cultivation. Judging from her aura, she had reached the 7th level of the cosmos stage, which was one level higher than before. I locked her up for such a long time, but she managed to achieve a breakthrough. Wang Ting's expression turned strange. Could it be that she loved getting tortured? The more painful, the happier, and the easier it was to achieve a breakthrough. Should he give it a try next time? Wang Ting glanced at Cao Jiaojiao. He didn't disturb her and left directly. Cao Jiaojiao only advanced recently. Even if he wanted to try, he had to wait for some time or until she encountered a bottleneck. After all, this was a rather unconventional method. A while later, Cao Jiaojiao emerged from her state of cultivation, furrowing her brows. Something felt a bit off. She instinctively glanced toward the door, but there was no one there. Was it just her imagination? Sigh, being confined for so long had made her a bit absent-minded. Cao Jiaojiao sighed in her heart. Fortunately, that unbearable experience seemed to have passed. She was about to embrace a new life. At least she didn't have to be locked up like before with her force sealed. She couldn't even cultivate previously. Strangely enough, after her force had been sealed for a while, her cultivation unexpectedly broke through from the 6th to the 7th level of the cosmos stage. Was this a good thing? She wanted to be happy, but for some reason, she couldn't. It was a strange feeling. Wang Ting, someone is looking for you. Wang Ting was preparing to cultivate when Round Ball's voice appeared in his mind. Who is it? If it's not important, you don't have to care about it, Wang Teng replied calmly. You will want to meet her. Round Ball chuckled. Who is it? Wang Teng was a little curious. Round Ball was still keeping him in suspense, so he asked curiously, is it a beautiful lady? Well, she's quite a beauty. Round Ball exclaimed softly, however, she's on the larger side, so you might not be able to handle her. It floated beside Wang Ting and sized him up strangely. I can't handle her. Come on, I was just joking. Larger side. Let her in, I want to see just how large she is. Wang Ting said defiantly. I'll let her in then, Round Ball said. Wait, who is it? Wang Ting asked curiously. The Solar Dragon Race. Round Ball didn't keep him in suspense any longer and directly revealed the visitor's origin. A female from the Solar Dragon Race? The image of an invincible King Kong Barbie appeared in Wang Ting's mind. He shuddered uncontrollably. That was scary. Shall we let her in? Round Ball asked with a mischievous smile. It felt that Wang Ting must be afraid. Let her in. She's just a lady from the Solar Dragon Race. Why would I be afraid of her? She probably came for the Solar Dragon Race's body. Let me see what she has to say, Wang Ting rubbed his chin and said. Round Ball nodded and opened the gate. A tall figure walked in from outside the gate. She enjoyed the scenery of the estate as she strolled in leisurely as if taking a casual stroll in her garden. This lady. Wang Ting stood at the entrance and squinted slightly. He was surprised when he saw the visitor. She was on the larger side but not a King Kong Barbie. She could be considered a larger beauty. With a unique charm. He didn't expect such a beauty to emerge from the Solar Dragon Race, which was full of muscular men. Could it be that there was a significant difference between males and females of the Solar Dragon Race? What surprised Wang Ting even more was the woman's demeanor. She appeared quite composed. Chapter 18:25 Divine Level Battle Techniques. The Solar Dragon Race came again. 5. Wang Ting activated his real eye and saw the other party's cultivation. This was a Heaven Stage Martial Warrior. A Heaven Stage Martial Warrior from the Solar Dragon Race. Interesting, they sent a Heaven Stage Martial Warrior this time. I wonder what surprises she will give. Wang Ting smiled. Wang Ting. The lady from the Solar Dragon Race stopped 10 meters away from Wang Ting. Solar Dragon Race, Zhulong Shuang. Zhulong Shuang. Wang Teng repeated in his heart. Aren't you planning to invite me in to sit? Zhulong Shuang smiled and spoke gently. That depends on whether the guest is an unwelcome one or a welcome one, Wang Ting said. I'm not an unwelcome guest, Zhulong Shuang replied. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt this time. Please, come in. Wang Ting glanced at her face, stepped aside, and made a gesture of invitation. Don't worry, I'm not like Zhulong Shan. Zhulong Shuang smiled and strode into the hall. They walked into the hall and sat opposite each other. What do you want to drink? Wang Ting asked. Do you have wine? Zhulong Shuang asked. Wang Ting waved his hand and a bottle of wine and 2 wine glasses appeared on the table. He poured a glass for the lady personally. The golden liquid radiated a shimmering brilliance within the crystal-clear glass, an exquisite sight that was almost blindingly beautiful and mesmerizing. Golden sunrise. Zhulong Shuang exclaimed in surprise. Please. Wang Ting raised his wine glass and said casually. You're rich. Zhulong Shuang raised her glass and lightly clinked it with his. Then, she parted her lips in anticipation and poured the wine down her throat. Delicious. As expected of the golden sunrise. All right, we've had our drink. Let's get to business. Tell me the purpose of your visit. Wang Ting swirled his wine glass and said. This is a good wine. Let me savor it a bit more. Zhulong Shuang poured herself a cup without any hesitation and began to savor it. Wang Ting felt a little helpless. This lady seemed overly friendly. Great wine. It truly is a great wine. I heard that even universe-stage martial warriors may not be able to afford this golden sunrise. I didn't expect you to offer it to me. Based on this alone, I consider you a friend, Zhulong Shuang said. Friend? Wang Ting raised an eyebrow. This female from the solar dragon race wanted to be friends with him? He smiled calmly and said, if you're trying to make me lower my guard using this approach, I advise you not to overthink things. I don't have that intention. Zhulong Shuang shook her head. She sat up straight and continued seriously, I'm not afraid to let you know. Although we're both from the solar dragon race, I'm not from the same branch as Zhulong Shan. Retrieving that body is an order from the higher-ups of the solar dragon race. I came for the body, that's beyond doubt. However, I won't let you hand it over for free. 200,000 points and the friendship of my branch in return. How is it? Is this sincerity enough? 200,000 points and the friendship of her branch. Wang Ting looked at the other party in surprise. This was quite a substantial offer. Indifferent from idiots like Zhulong Shan. They are blinded by the pride of the solar dragon race and don't realize that there are even more powerful existences beyond the clan. I, however, enjoy making friends with strong individuals, Zhulong Shuang said frankly. 200,000 points isn't enough. Wang Ting replied calmly. Zhulong Shuang. This fellow didn't fall for it. She said so much but the other party wasn't moved at all. Wang Ting gave her an ambiguous smile. Well, how much do you want? Zhulong Shuang coughed awkwardly and asked. 500,000 points. Wang Ting replied. 500,000 points. Why don't you just go rob someone? Zhulong Shuang's expression changed slightly. Her bet with Zhulong Hao was only 300,000 points. Yet, Wang Ting demanded for 500,000 points. This was daylight robbery. She realized that she had underestimated his appetite from the start. At first, you don't have to pay any points. Wang Ting smiled. But now, it's 500,000 points, and not a single point less. That idiot Zhulong Shan. Zhulong Shuang cursed Zhulong Shan's entire family in her heart when she heard his words. She had to spend hundreds of thousands of points to settle this matter because of his racial pride. Can't we compromise a little? Zhulong Shuang gritted her teeth and said, 300,000 points and the friendship of my branch. The offer is substantial. If you insist on 500,000 points, there's no friendship to discuss between us. I only like to talk about money, Wang Ting replied calmly. Zhulong Shuang looked at his stubborn face and felt a little helpless. This guy had her figured out. At this moment, her mind was spinning wildly, calculating the gains and losses. As long as she retrieved the solar dragon race body, she would win 300,000 points from Zhulong Hao. Coupled with the clan's reward, she could afford to pay 500,000 points. But, in doing so, she had nothing to gain. Should she agree? Chapter 18. 26 points obtained. The Gathering of the Seven Judges. 1. Zhulong Shuang fell into contemplation. She kept weighing her gains and losses. Wang Teng, on the other hand, was in no hurry. He sat calmly on a genuine leather sofa made from the skin of some kind of star beast, swaying his wine glass in his hand. His gaze seemed to be immersed in the golden liquid within the glass. Zhulong Shuang felt annoyed for no reason when she saw his expression. She could accept that he asked her for a large sum of points. But, after throwing the problem to her, he acted as if he had nothing to do with it. This was infuriating. If circumstances allowed, she would have even considered giving Wang Teng a beating. However, the initiative was in his hands. Zhulong Shuang gritted her teeth and finally said, 400,000 points. She was interrupted before she could finish. No. Zhulong Shuang's expression froze. Veins bulged out on her forehead. One could tell how frustrated she was. Bastard. He was so stubborn. But, in the end, she took a deep breath and said fiercely, all right, 500,000 it is, plus the friendship of my branch. Can you give me the body of the solar dragon race now? Actually, you don't have to add the friendship of your branch. I'm not interested in your friendship, Wang Teng said calmly. Zhulong Shuang's face turned black. This bastard rejected the friendship of the solar dragon race. He was looking down on the solar dragon race. He must be. No, he might have seen through her intention. Zhulong Shuang squinted as she sized up Wang Teng. The reason she insisted on adding that so-called friendship was because she wanted to establish a relationship with Wang Teng. Sometimes, when forming a friendship, the beneficiary might not necessarily be the other party. It could be her. She had high hopes for Wang Teng. Although this guy was tough to approach, his talent was undeniably astonishing. He was a grandmaster alchemist who could make pills that attract God-stage beings. It was highly likely that he would become an alchemy saint in the future. This kind of person was worth pulling over to her side. That was why she promised him this friendship even after agreeing to the 500,000 points. Unfortunately, Wang Teng had no intention of accepting the friendship she was offering. This was a little awkward. If she brought this topic up again, it would seem like she was eager to give away the friendship of the solar dragon race. The friendship of the solar dragon race wasn't cheap. All right, let's exchange the money and goods. Wang Teng signaled for her to quickly transfer the 500,000 points. That was 500,000 points. Even more than the points given by the two eternal stage martial warriors. As expected of the solar dragon race. Honestly, if Zhulong Shuang wasn't trying to win him over, she wouldn't have agreed to the 500,000 points. If it were any other member of the solar dragon race, they wouldn't have accepted such excessive demands. In Wang Teng's eyes, Zhulong Shuang was fooled by him. But from another point of view, this was also a demonstration of her audacity. Zhulong Shuang took another deep breath and operated on her wristwatch. Then, she said with a touch of irritation, I've transferred. Is there nothing else besides points in your eyes? Wang Teng's mood improved considerably after receiving the 500,000 points. He didn't mind conversing with her for a while longer, so he chuckled and replied, well, it depends on who's sending me points. Why? Is my solar dragon race so unworthy of your attention? Zhulong Shuang asked. Not really. Your solar dragon race is powerful, but I don't have a good impression of you. Wang Teng was straightforward. Don't generalize. I'm not an idiot like Zhulong Shan, Zhulong Shuang said. It doesn't matter. But, the so-called friendship isn't something you just say with your mouth. Wang Teng glanced at her meaningfully. Then, with a sweeping gesture, he brought out the body of the solar dragon race and placed it in front of Zhulong Shuang. This is the body. If there's no problem, you can take it back. It's of no use to me. He was just acting. He had already drained the body of all its value, so he had no interest in it now. A glint flashed past Zhulong Shuang's eyes. She hurriedly looked at the body, but the next moment, her expression changed. What's wrong with this body? Why is it like this? She couldn't even find the words to describe it. The body of the solar dragon race was covered in burn marks as if it had been struck by lightning. It was in a pitiful and almost unrecognizable state. Ahem. Wang Ting cleared his throat and said, "You should know that this body was previously controlled by a high-tier devil emperor. We went through an intense battle to reclaim it, so it inevitably sustained some damage." Stare. Zhulong Shuang looked at him curiously. "Don't doubt it. You can ask around in the Great Qian Empire. Many people witnessed it. I wouldn't lie to you," Wang Ting asserted confidently. Zhulong Shuang walked up to the body and examined it. She even instilled her force into the body to sense its condition. After confirming that it hadn't been dissected, she started to believe him. However, she still spoke with a hint of caution. "I'll believe you for now. However, after this body returns to the solar dragon race, we'll have ways to detect whether it has been studied or manipulated in any way. I hope you didn't engage in such activities. Feel free to inspect it however you like," Wang Teng replied nonchalantly. Deep inside, he felt disdainful of her concerns. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.